Welcome, everybody, to a brand new Blu-ray and DVD out and about video today. And this week sees us taking a trip back to the Wizarding World in Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, hitting the store shelves along with the horror sci-fi thriller remake Firestarter. And Kino Lorber is releasing a 4K edition of the dramatic crime comedy Out of Sight. Plus much, much more. So let's go see the deals, exclusives, and we are at our first location, Walmart. So let's go in and see what they got. All right, everybody, we are in at Walmart, and I can't predict shit no more. I can't. One week they don't have shit, the next week they actually have the stuff out. Ay, man, what a fucking conundrum this place is. Jesus. But regardless, hey, look, we have physical media gold, new release physical media gold, and they have a hell of a lot of Dumbledore love to get into. So let's do it, baby. Well, the first thing I'm seeing, that is none other than Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. The DVD for $19.96, the Blu-ray DVD digital for $24.96, the 4K love for $29.96. They also end up having this 3-film collection for all 3 of the Fantastic Beasts movies for $29.96. And wow, holy shit, this is fucking massive, man. It reminds me of that Batman exclusive that they had. Only at Walmart exclusive Blu-ray DVD digital for $34.96. This massive Walmart exclusive. Holy cow, man. Whoa. Limited edition collectible Newt's case with pop-up. Whoa, look at that thing. Holy shit. Dude, this is actually really fucking cool, man. I mean, if I was a fan of the Fantastic Beasts franchise or Harry Potter in general, this thing is killer. Look at that, man. Whoa, it actually pops up and it does look like his case inside with all the creatures and the movie too. Whoa, that is killer. Oh, that's genius, man. Look at this. This is awesome. Wow, man. There are certain types of collectibles out there that just as a fan, you kind of go for because they look really cool. And this is one of those, dude. Wow. Holy shit, man, this is fucking amazing. Wow. Of all places, Walmart be carrying this, man. I can't say every Walmart exclusive is really great, but this happens to be really fucking awesome, man. Whoa. Man, that is sweet. Damn, man. As a fan, that would be a get. That's no doubt, man. As a fan, this would be worthy of the collection. That's for damn sure. Woo! And when Walmart goes all out, yeah, they go all out. And this one certainly is one of those times, ain't it? Oh, it absolutely is, man. This is just impressive. Like, I gotta give Walmart a lot of credit. Usually I can't give them a ton of credit on their exclusives. They're okay, but not great. But this one, man, and they really hit it out of the park. And I have to give Warner Brothers a lot of credit in general because I love all the different artwork here. The different artwork for the DVD, for the Blu-ray, and for the 4K, man. I mean, there's something about it that is just really impressive. I mean, even if you don't like the movie, you gotta hand it for the different artworks, man. And it's just cool as a collector, from a collector standpoint, of getting something unique no matter what format you get it in. There's something cool about that and really interesting, and it just makes the collecting even more worth it as a fan. You know what I'm saying? And I just really dig that a lot. So big ups for Warner Brothers for all the really great collector's edition love, artwork, and really going out of their way to make it a very special release for the fans. However, is it actually worth it? Is the movie actually worth all of the Fantastic Beasts love, the old collector's love, the artwork love? Is it all worth it? Yeah. I suppose we have to dive into it, don't we? So let's do it. Oh man, let's indeed. I got a chance to watch this on HBO Max. I watched it with my girlfriend and her father. Yes, we had a sort of family night watching Secrets of Dumbledore. After a good old healthy vegetarian meal, sit down and watch a little bit of Harry Potter prequel goodness. Of course, there was nothing else to watch, folks. I'm not gonna lie. So we just decided, why not dive into this, man? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not a full-on Potterhead. I am not a Harry Potter fanatic like a lot of people are out there. Some people are literally apeshit over this series, over the characters, over the wizarding world, man. And I appreciate it, but this is not like a religion to me. Literally, sometimes for some people, the Harry Potter franchise is like a drug that they need over and over again. My girlfriend happens to be one of those people, man. She is a huge Potter lover. She loves that shit, man. She owns the books. She watches the movies constantly. I mean, literally, I'm the one that has the HBO Max account, but every single time that I log in, I'm like, wait a minute, who's watching Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Order of the Phoenix, Goblet of Fire? Oh, yeah, okay. I regret ever giving my girlfriend my password. Oh, man. She's always watching something Harry Potter all the goddamn time, man. She loves it to death. She really does. And there's a lot of people out there that really do, man. I mean, for me, look, I love the movies. I think the movies are amazing. They're incredibly well done, well executed. The acting, the story, the villains, everything is amazing. Absolutely, 100%, man. And I really adore that franchise and that series. And I think, for the most part, it's damn near perfect. Of course, I've never actually read the books. I know, you guys are like, wait a minute, you've watched the movies, but you've never read the books? My girlfriend has the same reaction, man. And I'm like, look, I'm gonna get into the books eventually, okay? Give me time, man. All right, I'm only human, all right? I'm doing my best, goddammit. So, yes, even though I am not a Harry Potter lover, a Potterhead, so to speak, I can appreciate the series and I can appreciate the characters and the story and the execution, and really feel like they did an amazing job to really bring the wizarding world to life. Put it that way. It's extremely magical, extremely spectacular, and I can really understand the love and appreciation that fans all around the world have for this. I can 110% understand it, and I get it, all right? I truly, honestly do. However, there is a lot of Harry Potter fans, Potterheads, so to speak, that even though they love the magical wizarding world, they're not exactly in love with these movies, so to speak. And that's entirely, honestly, the truth, man. They're not as big fans of them as you might think. They kind of feel lesser about these movies. And they kind of feel like, I don't know if they're illegitimate exactly, but they're not up to par where they should be, especially when it comes to the Harry Potter books and the Harry Potter movies. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I gotta admit, that first Fantastic Beasts movie I really do love, man. I think it's really fun and quirky. I love Newt Scamander. I love the different creatures. I think that's a really fascinating little film that I think is very enjoyable, honestly. But I don't think it should have been stretched out the way it has been. And even from what I know from my girlfriend and everything like that, that Fantastic Beasts book was sort of like a little side book about the creatures. Like, Newt Scamander was the one that wrote that book, and it tells you about the creatures themselves and their magical powers and their abilities and everything like that. But it was never meant to be a Harry Potter prequel series. It was meant to be sort of a one-off, cool little book for the fans, and that's it. And Warner Brothers and J.K. Rowling spun it into something that it was never supposed to be. And so that first movie, even though it's really good, and even though I really like it, it does feel like they're trying to push this into a whole entire series of its own, and they're trying to force it a bit. It still worked, but then when you got to the second film, yes, the second film. Oh boy, The Crimes of Grindelwald. Oh my god, I watched that in the movie theaters with Nick. We did a movie review on the channel. It's out there in the ether, folks. But spoiler alert, we did not really care about that movie whatsoever. Oh man, we really did not. It was weak sauce in the biggest, baddest way. Again, it felt stretched out, it felt forced, and a lot of it felt like they were just trying to shove in Harry Potter nostalgia for shoving it in there, that it never really made any sense, man. And even the villain, Grindelwald, you know, I gotta admit, I do really like Johnny Depp as an actor. I think Johnny Depp is absolutely fantastic, but he just didn't fit in the role. He didn't fit for Grindelwald. It felt like he was more grandstanding than anything else. It didn't really work for me. It felt awkward and out of place, and that was unfortunate. And I felt the chemistry between him and Jude Law wasn't really there, and I just felt like it was a big mess. And when you're trying to stretch out a mythology like this, you have to have a very fantastic villain, somebody that's really going to intrigue you, and I just didn't think they really pulled it off, especially in the second film. And again, there's moments where it was kind of dull and lifeless, and I felt like they were just trying to put in different storylines just for the sake of writing it out for another 3-4 films. And it just didn't honestly work, man. And unfortunately, even a lot of the things that I found out through Nick, because Nick is even more of a Potterhead than my girlfriend is, honestly. Very much is. And even he was saying there is things in this movie where it contradicts the Harry Potter franchise, and it doesn't even make any sense. So they're trying to stumble over their own feet to make another franchise happen, and it didn't really work successfully. And I think the fan base really felt it, honestly. But did Secrets of Dumbledore actually work where The Crimes of Grindelwald didn't? And honestly, kinda, sorta, not really. I mean, there is things in here that are not half bad. There are things in here that actually work really well to the film's benefit, like Mads Mikkelsen. Man, he is a really great replacement for Grindelwald. As I said with Johnny Depp, it felt like he was more grandstanding and being operatic, where I feel like Mads Mikkelsen is being more sinister and unpredictable, and I think it works better for the character. Mads is just one of those people where you look at him, you want to trust him, but you know that there's something sinister running underneath him, and that is so Mads, dude. It really is. And he's fantastic in the role. He really is. He brings a lot of gravitas and a lot of evil brewing underneath. Sort of this guy that you can see his mind working, and it's not for good, folks. And I just really love what he did with the role, man. He kills it. And I thought that was a really great addition, him bringing that sort of certain sense of, you know, evil machinations to it all. I thought he did it much better than Johnny Depp did. And even though I love Johnny Depp, Mads is a much better fit. He honestly is, man. And I gotta give a lot of love to Jude Law, because I think Jude Law, I think he does bring a certain amount of heart and worthiness to the role of Dumbledore. It's not perfect, but I think Jude Law really tries his hardest to bring a certain type of warmth to that character that really carries through to the Harry Potter films, which I really like. And of course, I really still love Newt Scamander. And of course, the Wizarding World is always fun to revisit, so it's not like there isn't some enjoyment to dive into here. The problem is, again, it just feels drawn out, and it feels boring and kind of lifeless, and there's moments in the movie that unfortunately doesn't even really pay off the right way that you're really hoping for, and that's the unfortunate part about it. I mean, there's that whole thing with Ezra Miller's character where he's related to Dumbledore, he's family, he could potentially kill Dumbledore, and even though this is a prequel and you know Dumbledore's gonna survive, it still kind of feels like a little bit of like, ooh, what's gonna happen? And honestly, the payoff is not really all that good, man. I mean, literally, he does a blink and you'll miss it fight scene with Dumbledore that really has no consequences whatsoever when they fight at all. And then suddenly, Dumbledore is like, not everything is as it seems. Be mindful, young one. And so he goes off and he really thinks about what he's done in his life and should he be evil. And at the end of the movie, he sort of just turns on Grindelwald and says, oh, he's evil, that guy, and he's not who he says he is. And suddenly it's like, oh, Grindelwald is mad, I'll get you. And then he ends up diving off of a roof and getting away. Wow. Man, that's some epic shit right there. I mean, seriously, man. I mean, it just is kind of lackluster. Even the action sequences don't really have any sort of stakes or high consequences to them, because characters that end up getting captured, like a scene or two later, end up being fine and they get released. And the problem ultimately is that there's nothing really of any significance or consequence of this movie whatsoever. Everything really feels like it's right back to where we started. There's this team that's trying to take down Grindelwald. Grindelwald is amassing his minions. There's some fight scenes. The frenemy sort of relationship between Grindelwald and Dumbledore is still ongoing. It's not like anything was resolved in that film whatsoever. And the allegiances pretty much stay the same, except for one character that switched over allegiances from the last film, and half a film later they're back to being good again. And you're like, what was the point of the movie exactly? And it just feels really forced and really stretched out, and they're just trying to stall so they can make more movies and make more money. That's what it ultimately is, man. And it's really unfortunate, and a lot of characters in this film get shortchanged. Not exactly Newt or Dumbledore or Grindelwald exactly, but there's a lot of these side characters who are on the team, both good and bad, that unfortunately don't get nearly enough screen time. You don't really get to know them or even care about them. And it's just a real goddamn shame at the end of the day. I mean, even a character like Jacob, which, by the way, I really dug Jacob in that first film, man. In that first film, in Fantastic Beasts, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was funny and quirky, and I really loved him. And then in the second film, there was really not much to do for him. And even in this film, it feels like they're really forcing it, right? Well, we've got to have him because he's the comic relief. He's the funny guy, right? We've got to have him along for the adventure. And so they give him this whole subplot of Dumbledore giving him a wand, even though he can't really use a wand. So he's just giving him it for the sake of giving it to him to be on the team, even though he's a muggle and he can easily die. So he's there for what? Just to be their sake? Okay. Like, there's just no reason for certain characters to be here or certain situations to happen. And even when they do, you kind of feel like they should have resolved this shit already. I mean, if you really think about it, this film should have been the ultimate film where they finally take down Grindelwald for good. It felt like this should have been the ending, right? But it's not, because they want to make more money. They want to be greedy with that shit, okay? They really honestly do, man. And it is unfortunate, because it just kind of feels like they're just spinning their wheels for the sake of spinning their wheels, man. And even when watching the film with my girlfriend, she was even talking about how there are certain things in this film that contradict the other Harry Potter films. So they're still doing that shit, man. They're still contradicting themselves, even though this is supposed to be one complete mythology. It isn't. And it's a goddamn shame, man. I mean, J.K. Rowling is the one that's writing the screenplay here. And she's a decent author, don't get me wrong, but she's not somebody that's good at writing a screenplay. She doesn't do dialogue well, and she doesn't do setup of plotting well, and there needed to be someone that really came in to really help her out with that. And unfortunately, Warner Brothers is just trusting her because she's J.K. Rowling, and I don't think that's really the right decision to make. But Warner Brothers just really wants more Harry Potter, and they don't care really how they get it as long as they get something. And even the references to Harry Potter, I mean, in the movie, when they actually go to Hogwarts, like when Hogwarts is actually finally revealed, they do the whole like they're even doing the music because they're like, Harry Potter, get it? Yeah, come on now, you know you like it. And they're just trying to feed you as much Harry Potter stuff to try to get you into the Harry Potter feels. So, well, we like it because it's kind of connected to Harry Potter. No, it's not. It's just bullshit for bullshit's sake, man. Dude, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I just really didn't care for this film, and I just thought it was a useless entry. And I'm starting to think that most of the Fantastic Beasts stuff is a useless entry, and it really is a goddamn shame, dude. It really honestly is. I mean, at this point, I know they're possibly going to make more films, maybe, but is it worth it? If they're kind of lifeless and limp dick as this film is, what's really the honest point? I mean, the movie is over 2 hours long, almost 2.5 hours, and it feels it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my girlfriend's father was actually really intrigued like a motherfucker. He was watching that thing really intensely. He's like, what's gonna happen to Dumbledore? And I'm like, well, you know it's a prequel, right? He's gonna survive. And he's like, oh, yeah. Hell, he was the only one among us that was actually intrigued by this goddamn thing. I mean, there's moments here that make you really love it and the wizarding world and how spectacular it can be, but it's few and far between, man. It really is a lifeless franchise at this point, and it's just spinning its wheels like a motherfucker. Better luck next time, but then again, I think next time is going to be the same as this time. But where the Secrets of Dumbledore fails, Firestarter succeeds? Eh? Oh boy. Firestarter, the DVD for $17.96. Oh my god. More remakes. God damn it. Jesus Christ. I got a chance to watch this on Peacock. Yes, I actually got Peacock in order to watch this. I don't know why I fucking did it, man. I just did it. Don't hate on me, will ya? Alright. I was like, what the hell? Maybe I'll get Peacock. Firestarter's gotta be good, right? It can't be all that bad. Man, I really gotta stop doing that to myself. I should have known, man. I should have honestly fucking known, dude. Oh boy. So yes, I got a chance to watch it, and look, I'm not gonna lie, I am a fan of the original Firestarter, 1984, man. Drew Barrymore, based on a Stephen King novel. I really dig it, man. I was like, that movie's really cool. Yes, it's kind of aged, obviously, and if you really think about Stephen King adaptations, Firestarter isn't exactly the most memorable among them. It's decent for what it is, but it's still pretty good regardless, though. But doing a remake, well, with better special effects, and obviously better technology nowadays, and obviously more opportunities for telling a story and really giving the treatment the full respect and adaptation it deserves, well, it's gotta be great, man. It's gotta work out, right? No, not so much, not really. Oh, man, not really at all, dude. Oh, God, this is another limp dick fucking movie, man. God, they all gotta be limp dicks this week, don't they? Shit. Alright, man, I mean, to be honest with you, the acting is pretty amateurish at best. I do really dig Zac Efron here. I think Zac Efron is probably the best out of them all. He's trying his hardest, dude, but he's got really nothing to work with. How most of them really don't. They're stereotypical characters in stereotypical roles. Oh, the evil government officials that want to take her and use her for their experiments. Oh, the agent that's on the hunt for her. The parents that don't want their girl to be trained. I mean, come on. It's literally predictable from the word go. Characters, story, you name it. And it's not like that's necessarily a bad thing at times, because even though you can be predictable, you can still be exciting of a movie, but not this film exactly. I mean, if you remember with that first Firestarter in 1984, then it starts out where they're already on the run and they're trying to evade the government and everything like that, and it really is exciting. And then you do the whole flashbacks with the parents and the experimentations, and you get the story bit by bit through flashbacks, and I really do dig that. In this film, that's not how it's structured. We literally start with the flashbacks, and you really don't even get a lot of flashbacks in the movie, man. It's really the title sequence, and that's it, and that's all you get. You don't really get a lot of in-depth about the experimentations whatsoever. So they really fucked that over in a big bad way. And then there's the whole mundane thing about them living peacefully in this house and trying to control their powers, and how the girl is heading into her teenage years and how her powers are going to start to really manifest themselves even more. And then there's an incident that happens at school, and then it all sort of transpires from there, and everybody's going after him. But for the first half hour, 40 minutes of the film, there is no action whatsoever. There's barely any special effects with fire going on, and even if we do get it, it's very quick. Blink and you'll miss it, and it's kind of boring. I mean, really, it's just boring as a motherfucker. You're sitting there waiting for something exciting to happen. Where the 1984 movie, there's already exciting stuff right off the bat, man. You get some exciting sequences, some chase scenes, and you're off and running. Here, for the first like 45 minutes, you're just waiting for something to happen at some point, and it just doesn't go down. And you're like, dude, are we gonna get something at some point? Because, dude, I'm getting bored as a motherfucker in here. And once you do, at that point, you kind of don't care. And also, the other big difference is the fact that the girl here is almost in her teenage years. And it's hard to really sympathize with her or really connect with her. I like what they did with the Drew Barrymore character in the first Firestarter, because she was younger and she felt more vulnerable, and you felt like she could really not control it as much, and there was a certain amount of sympathy that you had for her, where this one, not so much, unfortunately. And that's another change where, unfortunately, it doesn't really work. And I think sometimes some of the characters, like the agent that's going after them, you don't really get to know them as well. They're just bad guys for bad guys' sake. It's not until the ending where there's something intriguing with the character. But again, at that point, that's the ending of the movie. That's it. Like, once it starts to get intriguing, that's when the movie ends. There's this whole sequence in the lab where she goes apeshit, and that's kind of cool, I guess. But again, once it gets interesting, 5 minutes later, it's done, and you're like, what was the point of all this, man? I mean, literally, I would have liked had she been with this guy, this agent, and they go off together, and then you get flashbacks of what happened. Then that might have been intriguing, but unfortunately, most of the mundane shit happens in this movie, and it's not even intriguing. You don't really give a shit, man. And the effects in this film, dude, I'm sorry, man, but there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that compares to having real fire and real fire elements. Like that first Firestarter movie, man, that is still really great to this day. The fire effects hold up, man. They are impressive. Here, it's all CGI fire bullshit, man. And at the end of the day, it doesn't look impressive, man. I mean, when it's more impressive coming from a Harry Potter film when it comes out of a dragon's mouth is pretty goddamn sad, man. We're in 2022, dude. If you can't do good fire effects now, then just fucking give up, will ya? I mean, seriously. The characters are limp dick. You barely get to know anybody. You hardly get to sympathize with the little girl. The effects are dog shit. I mean, this is a really limp dick effort from beginning to end, man. They didn't really know what to do with this movie. And I just kept thinking to myself, why are they making this film, man? Why redo this if there's nothing worth doing it for? And then I kept thinking to myself, oh yes, because they have the name Firestarter. They have the actual title. So they have to do something with it to make more money, right? And if they could do a cash grab and make a little change out the door, then why the fuck not? I don't know, man. I think it's bullshit. I think this movie is bullshit, and it is a pale comparison, and I mean a pale comparison to that original film, man. It really honestly is. Not that that original film lighted the world on fire, but it was a hell of a lot better than this film, and there was so much really great actors in that piece. Again, Drew Barrymore and George C. Scott and some really great, overall wonderful actors in that film that really made the performances worth it and really made you feel for the circumstances. You just don't get that in this film. I mean, other than Zac Efron, but he doesn't really get enough to do. He's the dad who doesn't want to train the daughter and gets captured and then, you know, wants the daughter to live her life and escape. Oh, well, not that we haven't seen that shit a time or two, haven't we? I mean, they're trying to make it more into this girl has superpowers than about the fact that this girl is a ticking time bomb. And I don't think it worked out really well. Unfortunately, they're trying to cash grab on comic book superhero tales. They're trying to, at the same time, remake this whole thing with a Stephen King novel and an adaptation. But they're not really doing a lot of the same stuff that the 84 film did. And they're taking away a lot of the same elements that you knew and loved from the Stephen King book itself. It's not a faithful adaptation, far from it, and unfortunately they could have done something really unique and interesting with modern technology and modern storytelling, and they failed epically, man. This is one of those instances where remaking a property doesn't end up going as well as you might think. Stephen King is a worthy author, especially worthy of newer adaptations, but how about we just leave Firestarter alone? This movie, seriously, is a non-motherfucking starter. Don't waste your fucking time. Please watch the 84 version. It may be old, but sometimes the oldies are definitely the goodies. And this one is bullshit, man. Bullshit of the most epic motherfucking order. Just saying, it really, really honestly is, man. A goddamn fucking shame if I've ever seen one, dude. I was just watching it, and I just kept asking myself, what's the point? Other than a cash grab, there's no other reason to remake this movie. And when you watch it, you'll know why. Oh, you really honestly will, man. What a goddamn shame, man. Fucking hell, dude. I mean, they've got the goods this week. They really honestly do. The movies, though, definitely let them down. That is for damn sure, man. However, something that I'm now seeing that definitely doesn't let me down. Oh, I predicted it, didn't I? I told you that they would have the Nicolas Cage goodness this week. Of course, they didn't have it last week, but fucking hell, man. A week late, hell, I can wait for some Nicolas Cage goodness, can you? Oh, I definitely can, man. Look at this. They've got the 4K, and they've got a limited edition gift set. Oh, that is nice, man. Look at this. Oh, I'm loving this artwork, man. Oh, that is so cool. Nicolas Cage is Nick Cage. You're damn right he is, motherfucker. Oh, man, I'm loving this artwork. That's so cool, dude. And actually, I gotta admit, I have been really loving the artwork that we got for this movie, man. I mean, the 4K here, even the regular Blu-ray edition, the Target exclusive, the Best Buy edition. There's something about the artwork, man, that's been really cool for this movie, man. They have really hit it out of the park for this film, and the 4K definitely doesn't disappoint either. That is really cool, and even that Walmart exclusive, man. Look at that. Limited edition gift set for $24.96. Look at this bad boy, baby. Nice. It comes with an exclusive t-shirt, too. Look at that. What does it say? I'm back. Not that I went anywhere. No, you definitely didn't go anywhere, Nick Cage. All we've been doing is been waiting for you, motherfucker. And you definitely delivered. Oh, indeed you did, man. God, this is such a great, fun, entertaining film, man. And one of the best bromances of all time. Seriously, the bromance is epic, man. It has to be witnessed. Oh, it so does, dude. That's kind of cool that they have this edition, man. I mean, the problem with getting an edition like this is the fact that you're kind of hoping and praying that the shirt actually fits you. Because a lot of these times, I love the shirts, but I don't buy it because most of the time they don't really make the shirt in my size, to be honest with you. So I tend to pass on these type of editions. But hey, if you think the shirt's gonna fit for you, why the fuck not, man? Take the gamble, dude. However, look at this, man. The spider claws got to this motherfucker. Look at that, dude. I hate when Walmart does this, man. I mean, I understand why they do it because of safety reasons. I get it. It makes a lot of sense at the end of the day. But I just wish they wouldn't do the spider claws, man, because it just ruins the packaging. As collectors, you really want that collector's edition set, man, without the dings and all the bad spider wrapping. Man, that's fucking ruined, dude. Even with this, man, I mean, with the spider claws here, you can kind of tell it's still a little bit ruined, man. I mean, I know theft and it's a big deal and I get it, but man, there's got to be a better way, dude. There really honestly does, man. But until that day happens, I guess they're still sticking with the good old spider claws, ain't they? Apparently they are, man. But regardless, hey, you do get a cool t-shirt, though. I guess that kind of offsets it, don't it? Yeah, maybe. But it's great to see the Nicolas Cage love here at Wally World. Definitely is indeed, man. And great artwork, dude. My man Nick Cage deserves it. Come on, man. Great artwork, great additions, not half bad for Walmart this week, man. They definitely deliver the goods in a big, bad way. Always appreciative of that, aren't I? Well, when it happens. Let's head out. Well, it's about goddamn time, ain't it? Oh, my lord, it really honestly is, dude. I swear to God, I come into Walmart now, this specific Walmart, I come in here and I'm always like, oh my God, there's gonna be nothing to show off yet again. I'm always thinking that, man. I'm always in terror coming in here because I'm thinking to myself, like, it's not like they've actually inspired confidence in me, because there has been so many weeks where I'm like, okay, I guess we just ain't getting jack shit this week. And finally they decided, you know what, it's a big enough release week. We need to put out the Harry Potter love, even though it's not really Harry Potter. and put it out for all the kiddies out there. I mean, damn glad that they did, because they have all the varieties. Hell, they even have that really cool suitcase exclusive. I mean, come on, if you are a fan of the franchise or that movie, dude, that is probably the worthy exclusive to get. Just saying, man, that looks pretty goddamn sweet, okay? So, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of happy that they actually had good shit this week, okay? It's kind of the only week that I can say that, because it doesn't happen very often. So when it does, I kind of have to appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean that they'll have the new release love next week? Does that mean that they'll have new release love the week after that? And so on and so forth? Yeah, don't press your luck, guys, please. Alright. If this place was a casino, I certainly wouldn't be gambling at it, okay? Alright, put it that way. But at least this week we have the new release love, and you had to at least appreciate that for what it's worth, because we may not get it the following week. So cherish what we have now, because it may not happen all the time. You know what I'm saying? I think you definitely do, man. Indeed. So hey, new release love, exclusive goodness. I'll take what I can get. Alright, I will indeed, and I think you will as well. But I know there's more physical media gold out there. There has to be. So how about we go searching, shall we? Alright, everybody. We are at our second location, Target. But before I go in, I gotta talk to you guys about something. Now, certain actors want to go out and get their Oscar. Others, man, they could give a crap. They just want to be loved for whatever they do, no matter what it is. And that's why I love my man Samuel L. Jackson, baby. Oh, indeed I do. From Collider, Samuel Jackson says he'd rather make big-budget movies than Oscar bait. Oh, I love you, Sammy. Oh, I do. Actor Samuel Jackson has shared his thoughts on appearing in Oscar bait movies. In an interview with Variety, Jackson says that he would rather focus on making more mainstream movies than ones that are typically considered for Academy Awards. Jackson was previously nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor after playing Jules Winfield in director Quentin Tarantino's 1994 film Pulp Fiction. However, he did receive an honorary Academy Award earlier this year. He went on to say, as jaded as I wanted to be about it, thinking, well, I should have won an Oscar for this or should have won it for that, and it didn't happen. Once I got over it many years ago, it wasn't a big deal for me. I always have fun going to the Oscars. I always look forward to getting a gift basket for being a presenter. I give stuff to my relatives. My daughter and my wife would take stuff out. It's cool, but otherwise, I was past it. Jackson also talked about the type of film roles he is more interested in pursuing. I was never going to let the Oscars be a measure of my success or failure as an actor. My yardstick of success is my happiness. Am I satisfied with what I'm doing? I'm not doing statue-chasing movies, If you do this movie, you'll win an Oscar. No, thanks. I'd rather be Nick Fury or having fun being Mace Windu with a lightsaber in my hand. Oh, you're saying all the right words to me, Sammy. Oh, indeed you are, baby. Oh, indeed he is, man. And I really appreciate that from Samuel L. Jackson. Just as somebody who loves movies and a movie lover, years ago, right, I was somebody who loved the Oscars, and I wanted some of my favorite actors and actresses to get an Oscar for their performance. They really deserved it. And then when they didn't win, I got pissed, or I was really celebrating when they won the Oscar. And nowadays I realize, you know what, that doesn't really matter anymore. I just love the movie for the movie and what their performances meant to me. They don't necessarily have to win an award to prove that they're worthy of anything. And I think that actors really feel like they need to prove themselves, whether it's to the industry or history, the fact that they can win an Oscar and they can be among their peers, right? And Samuel Jackson has never really been that guy. There's moments where he's had Oscar-worthy performances, no doubt about it. But I think after a while he realized, you know what? I'm just not going to be that guy. I'd rather be somebody that somebody can put a quote on a t-shirt rather than the Oscar. Yeah, it's nice to have it, but eventually you have to remember that as human beings, we eventually die. We can't take the clothes on our back. We can't take the money that's with us, and we certainly can't take the awards either. But what does live on is the roles, the performances, and the quotes. And the idea that Samuel Jackson has a lot of those quotes, man, that will be with us for many, many, many decades. Long after Samuel Jackson is off of this earth, we will be remembering him. And that is the most important to him, and I really appreciate it. It's not about winning awards or appeasing your peers. It's about the fans and the moviegoers. And sometimes I feel actors or actresses, they tend to forget that lesson a little bit. You know, once they've been in prestige movies, once they've gotten nominated a time or two, well, they like the feeling and they want to go back. They want to wear the suits and they want the glitz and glamour. And sometimes just having the love from your fan base, just having the love from moviegoers should sometimes be enough. Then again, it's not always that way, folks, but it should be. And Samuel Jackson is proof positive of that. And I really, really love that, man. And for me, as a movie lover, as somebody who cares about movies and the experience of it, I really appreciate that. That this guy, yes, he'll take a really great role if it feels like it's worthy for him to do it. But he's not out of his way searching for the next great role that's going to give him an Oscar. If they're willing to bring him back as Mace Windu, if they're willing to bring him back as Nick Fury, and he gets paid, he doesn't care, man. He'll do whatever it is because A, he enjoys it, and B, you know, hey, they're giving me the money, so why the fuck wouldn't I? I mean, seriously. So, you know, next time that, you know, you're watching an awards show, the Golden Globes, the Academy Awards, whatever, at the end of the day, ask yourself, does those awards really matter? Or is it just the fact of loving what you do and loving the fact that other people love what you do and you do it for them? And that is satisfaction enough. Think about that for a second. Definitely think about it. But my man Sammy, it's the reason why I love him as much as I do, man. He is one cool-ass cat, and he just made himself even more cooler. I don't know if that's possible, but he did it in my eyes. He definitely did indeed, man. Let me know what you think about that. Definitely dying to find out. But in the meantime, there is physical media love out there. Walmart actually proved it this week. How crazy is that? So we know there's stuff out there, but what is Target gonna have? How about we go in and find out? All right, everybody, we are in at Target, and oh, I think I'm seeing all that Fantastic Beast love on display. Oh, indeed I am. So let's dive into the magical world once again with the DVD of The Secrets of Dumbledore for $22.99. The Blu-ray DVD digital for $27.99. That old 4K love for $29.99. And a 3-film collection set, yet again, the Blu-ray digital for $39.99. But because Walmart had an exclusive, Target has to keep up. Indeed they do. With the Blu-ray DVD digital only at Target exclusive for $29.99. Look at this. Nice. Not bad, man. What does this come with? 16-page Newt's journal booklet. Oh, great. Is this like his drawings? Oh, look at that. That is cool. With his beast sketches. Nice. That's pretty fascinating, man. I like that. That's a cool little exclusive, man. Maybe not as good as the huge, like, case thing that, like, Walmart has, because, man, ain't nobody beating that shit. But the journal stuff is pretty cool, man. That would actually be a cool little get for fans of the franchise, kids. That's not a bad little exclusive, after all. Can't say all Target exclusives are worth it, but this one's not bad, actually. Especially for fans of the franchise. It's a pretty neat little get, actually, for them. Pretty interesting and unique indeed, man. They had to do their best to try to keep up with Walmart. Not exactly 100% kept up, but yeah, they tried at least. But the sketches are pretty cool regardless, man. Not half bad. And what's even more interesting is the artwork. Now, to the untrained eye, this looks exactly the same as this, right? Wait a minute, how much of a difference is it? Well, obviously the title is in the front and not the top, and the characters' positioning is a little bit different. Certain character poses, and the fire's in the front, and here the fire's in the back. Ah, see? There's a few differences with the artwork here. I mean, you know, I have done this a time or two. I ought to know the differences by now, damn it. I ought to indeed, man. Nice little exclusive love for Secrets of Dumbledore, indeed, man. And when it comes to the Fantastic Beasts franchise, I gotta talk about prequels. I just do, man. It's part of the program here, especially when it is a prequel. I kind of have to bring up the fact that, well, prequels are a thing, they exist. But why exactly? I mean, here's the deal about it, right? I have experienced many prequels because as a fan of a franchise, eventually they dive into prequels because I don't know whether they want to extend the franchise more or they feel like it's worth telling the story of how it all began. No matter how they want to do it, prequels exist for good and bad reasons. Star Wars, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, X-Men, hell, even Psycho has gotten prequel love as well. Oh man, it's like literally being on the Oprah Winfrey Show. You get a prequel, and you get a prequel, and everybody gets a prequel. Yay! But is it really worth it for every single franchise to literally get prequel love? That's kind of tough to say, man, because the problem ultimately with prequels is that you know where it's all heading, right? You know that certain characters have to survive. You know that certain plot elements have to happen in order for these future films to end up becoming a reality. So certain suspense or thrills or surprises, they just don't happen the way that you want them to. And it's tough to really invest yourself in prequels at times when you know what the eventual outcome will ultimately be. But sometimes some prequels are worth it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, those Star Wars prequels, yes, they have warts, I will admit, but I kind of like them. And it was kind of cool to see how Anakin went to the dark side and seeing Padme and seeing the old Republic. And there's something about that that's kind of cool and interesting. I mean, yes, you know where it has to all head, and you know that certain characters ultimately have to end up moving on to the original trilogy, but I thought a lot of the information was unique and interesting, and I liked how they framed it. Even in the X-Men movies. I mean, the X-Men movies, what's great about those, yes, you know that Magneto has to survive, and Professor X does, and Mystique and some of those people, but I like a lot of the mystery about the other characters, and I like the trials and tribulations that they went through in the history of time. And I thought that was really cool and fascinating and interesting, man. And I actually thought it was worthy, a lot of those films. I don't think every single one is great. X-Men Apocalypse, not exactly the best one of the bunch, but it ain't half bad either. I mean, those are great examples of it. Then again, there are some that are not as hot as they should be, like the Alien prequels. Damn, man. I mean, seriously, I get why Ridley Scott wanted to do it, right? He wanted to tell this sprawling story about the space jockeys and their origins and how we come to see them at the beginning of the first Alien movie. He had okay intentions, maybe. But the problem with those movies is that it's really just a convoluted and complicated mess, man. And it's just made the Alien series weaker because of it. Did you really need to know the origins of the space jockey? Did you really need to know how the alien came to its being? Cool, maybe, but honestly, the way they approached it, it just felt like they kind of were spinning their wheels to getting to the ultimate payoff, which, by the way, still hasn't even happened. Because Ridley Scott is like, well, I have one more Alien film to say all I need to say about the Alien films and tell you the true origins of the space jockeys and the alien and everything you needed to know. And I'm like, Ridley, calm down. Calm down. Just go back into the rocking chair in the retirement home. It's okay, Ridley. We don't need to know everything. You tried. D for effort? It's okay. It's kind of a fascinating mess, all things considered, but it's still a mess, man. I mean, Oz the Great and Powerful, that Sam Raimi movie, did you really need to know the origins of the Wicked Witch? No, you really didn't need to know it, but they decided to tell you anyways. Oh, or what about that Leatherface prequel? Yeah, that one was a real winner, wasn't it? Oh, God. Or the Thing prequel, because you really needed to know every little detail of what happened to the Norwegian team before we ever get to the real and better movie. Yes, of course you needed to know that, didn't you? Yeah, you were just dying to. I know, you don't have to tell me. I just know these things. I do indeed, man. But then again, there are some things and prequels out there that are fantastic, like the Planet of the Apes prequels, which are really fantastic. I mean, honestly, they are way better than they had any right to be. I thought they were going to be a complete and utter joke, but man, they surprised the hell out of me, and they are really, really damn good, man. The idea of Caesar and how he came to be and how the apes ended up uprising. Fantastic stuff, man. Amazing stuff, actually. I also have to give a little bit of love to Psycho 4. Now, I know some of you guys are like, wait a minute, the third sequel in a series that's a prequel of how Norman Bates became Norman Bates? You're really gonna praise that shit? And I actually do, man, because I've always really liked it. I mean, yes, you don't need to necessarily know how Norman became Norman and started killing, but I kind of like how they did it, actually. And I love Henry Thomas playing a younger Norman Bates, man. He is really phenomenal. And I just love the trauma that that character had, and I thought they framed it in a really great way. Yes, not needed, but a nice little add-on, I would say, man. I mean, that's something, a blast from the past that not many people know about, but here's another one that a lot of you people might have forgotten, maybe never even knew existed, but indeed it does, from the year 2000. From the year 2000. Cruel Intentions 2, baby. Oh, yes. You remember that shit? I do. Oh, indeed I do, man. A prequel to the first Cruel Intentions movie. You didn't think you needed it. Well, honestly, you didn't. But you got it anyways, man. Basically, it's about Sebastian, played by Griffin Dunne, that was originally played by Ryan Phillippe. He ends up moving to New York City with his new stepsister, Catherine, originally played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, but in Cruel Intentions 2, played by Amy Adams. Yeah, Academy Award winning Amy motherfucking Adams. Seriously. I have a feeling that's not a movie that she highlights on her resume, man. And he falls in love with the rich popular girl, and Catherine tries to screw him over, and this is how Sebastian becomes one mean, evil son of a bitch. Oh, a prequel for the ages. Yeah, right, man. It's really not that good. I mean, there is a little bit of charm to the film, but seriously, it's pretty bad. It really is, man. I mean, there is some prequels out there that just feel unneeded and are just there because you're copying off of the name. I mean, even something like the Exorcist prequels. You don't really need the Exorcist prequels. You didn't really know it. Yeah, they're a little bit fascinating, but yeah, what was the point ultimately? And Star Wars isn't even immune to it either. I mean, you look at Solo, a Star Wars story. I mean, all things considered, I do kind of like that movie. It's not as bad as everybody says it is, and a lot of people say it's really bad. It's really not, all things considered, but it is pointless. I mean, did you really need to see how Han Solo went from rags to more rags? How he met Chewbacca and how he became the lovable scumbag? Do you really need to know that? No, not necessarily. It was what it was. I mean, unfortunately, prequels are going to be around for a long, long time. Franchises, literally, after a certain point, they kind of feel like they need it just to continue the story. And with this movie, it just feels so far removed from where Harry Potter eventually is. Yes, you get a younger Dumbledore and certain characters that have relatives that carry on within the franchise, but honestly, did you really care about it? You don't see Voldemort, you don't see any of Harry Potter's lineage. It just kind of feels like it's there because we need to keep the franchise going, and that's the only reason why any of this really exists. And when that happens, when you make prequels, unfortunately, you lose a certain amount of luster with it, and the excitement kind of goes away from there. It is a shame because there's moments where you can really feel that it's tapping into that magical wizarding world, but it is few and far between. It really honestly is. And I'm just kind of curious of where other prequel series are going. I mean, I look at Hunger Games, and Hunger Games is going to have a prequel series. And new movies about how the Hunger Games started. And that could be kind of cool, actually, seeing the history of the Hunger Games. But ultimately, do you really need it at the end of the day? Prequels are interesting creatures themselves, interesting beasts that franchises create. But ultimately, at the end of the day, is it really worth it to dive into the past? Does it really inform what you've seen in the future? Some prequels do, but very few and far between actually have that much of an impact. And these ones really don't at all. Fascinating for what they are, but they're incredibly disconnected, which ultimately means that they really have no point whatsoever to the story. Just stick with the regular Harry Potter stuff, because honestly, that's the stuff that really matters. This doesn't matter at all, man. And it's a real shame. We're just spinning our wheels for the sake of spinning our wheels to keep the franchise going, to keep the money flowing. At the end of the day, it's just greed for greed's sake. It's not about creativity, it's just about making money. And when that happens, these are the type of movies that you get. Just saying. What do you think? Do you agree with me, or do you feel like prequels are a necessary component to tell a unique story in a different way? Let me know, man. But Lord of the Rings, this ain't. Okay, put it that way, man. That's for damn sure, man. Indeed. It is what it is, but it will never live up to the Harry Potter legacy. But honestly, was it ever trying to? Indeed. I'm not sure about that one, guys. But at least they have the Dumbledore Gold. And by the way, somebody ended up picking up that 3-film collection set. So somebody really loves the Fantastic Beasts films. For $40, I just don't understand why anybody would get the collection set. I mean, they're probably going to make more movies, right? I mean, this movie really bombed bad at the box office, but something tells me that Warner Brothers is going to keep on going, because if there's any money to just take from the franchise, if there's any money to really squeeze out from the fan base, they will do it. So really, why get a collection set now when most likely you'll have to get the collection set yet again? Shit doesn't make any sense to me, but hey, their money. Their money indeed, man. But hey, at least we've got some Fantastic Beasts love, and damn glad for it. Not bad. Let's head out. Well, it looks like Target definitely did their due diligence on physical media this week. Oh, indeed they do, because we got a hell of a lot of Fantastic Beasts love, even a little bit of exclusive goodies as well. Not bad, actually, all things considered, but they didn't have everything this week. I mean, first of all, Walmart kicked Target's ass in the exclusive department. You have to best believe that, man. However, Walmart had Firestarter and Target didn't. I mean, where is Firestarter exactly? I mean, why don't we have that here? I mean, they're okay with having Jurassic Park in stores where dinosaurs eat people gruesomely. I mean, they have that. That's okay for the kiddies. I mean, we have Michael Myers stabbing people to death multiple times. That's okay. You know, John Wick shooting people in the head multiple times. That's okay. But a girl controlling fire with her mind and torching people and exploding them, we can't have that for the kiddies. Apparently we can't, man. So, alright, some things are acceptable for the kids and other things aren't. Fair enough, I suppose. But no Firestarter love here. But then again, that might be a good thing, because I was just going to roast the movie anyways. So, fair enough. And obviously, outside of the couple big releases, it's not like it's the momentous occasion of physical media you've ever seen. Not like it is either. So we have a few things worth showing, but not a lot. But Target definitely did their due diligence to show off some new release love this week, and you definitely have to appreciate it. And now I definitely do, because when it comes to physical media, anything is good, especially nowadays when sometimes it's tough to find physical media in stores. Hey, anything always makes me a very happy physical media boy, and I know it does for you as well. Oh, indeed it does. So we saw a little bit of new release love, not a lot, but just enough to keep us going until the next store, where hopefully we'll see more physical media love ahead. All right, everybody, we are at our third location, the second one. I'm going to go in and check out if there's any interesting indie titles we're showing off. If there is, I'll bring it back to Film Fan 108 HQ and show it to each and every one of you. But before I do that, gotta talk about a trailer with you guys. And with one Star Wars series ending, well, it ain't too long until another one is about to hit your eyeballs, isn't it? Yes, with Andor hitting Disney Plus in August. Oh, and I bet you can't wait for more of that Star Wars love. Oh, absolutely, man. Now, here's the deal. I was in the movie theater watching Rogue One with the guys, and hell, even my girlfriend was there. When it hit theaters, we went to go see that movie. And, you know, when I left that movie, I was a little ambivalent about it. I was like, yeah, it's not bad, but it's not as great as I think everyone is saying it is. And yeah, I was kind of this way, that way. Didn't hate it, but didn't love it either. And actually, over the years, I've watched it about a few times here and there. And what I've noticed is it actually, for me, it's actually gotten better. Like, I've actually liked it more every single time that I've watched it. The movie has grown on me. And I think it's because I had such high expectations. This is the plans to the Death Star that they're stealing. And I'm like, we've been hearing about this for so long, what is it gonna be? And maybe I was overhyping it, but it's actually ended up becoming one of my favorite Star Wars films over time. It's kind of odd to say that. Usually, for me, when I have a reaction to a film, it's usually something that pretty much sticks with me. But not with this one, man. It's kind of surprised me a bit. So I've actually really loved it, going back and looking at the rebellion and the Empire and seeing it on the screen and the difficulties and the victories. And I've loved that stuff. And the characters in that movie were intriguing me. Cassian Andor was an interesting character that I don't think they really fleshed out far enough. You knew that he was somebody that had a troubled past, that he was working with the rebellion, and they didn't really do much with it. Very surface level at best. However, if you're gonna flesh out a character, you might as well do it TV show style, right? And that is where they were going with this, and this is where we are at. And I'm actually okay with this, because what I love about the trailer is the fact of seeing the Empire in its heyday, the idea of it being all powerful and all encompassing and very much threatening, and the idea that everybody is in fear because of them. And you got to see a little bit of a taste of that in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we're definitely getting more of a taste of it now, which I'm really very interested to dive into, man. I mean, yes, we're going to find out more about Cassian and his struggles and what he's had to deal with as far as battling the Empire, but it's not just him. It's the actual rebellion themselves. And I think that's what really intrigues me, because, we've seen the rebellion a time or two. Obi-Wan, we've seen some of it. We've seen some of it in the original trilogy and some moments here and there. Rogue One, obviously. And yet, we've never really gotten the full scope of the rebellion. We've gotten moments where we've seen little pockets of it here, little pockets of it there. But what was the deal with the rebellion? Who was specifically involved with the rebellion? What did it take to amass these type of people to your cause? How did you manage to acquire the weaponry and the technology and be able to fly under the radar among such a powerful entity as the Empire? And this is where this series, I hope, is really going to go, is really showing the whole machinations of the rebellion and what it took to really secure your identity in a time when everyone else is being subjugated for it. And I thought that is really phenomenal. And I'm really hoping from the trailer that we kind of get that. At least I'm hoping for it, man. I think it looks really cool. I just like the idea of the Empire with their whites and the grays and the blacks, very, very spiffy looking and clean, and we are the Empire. And the rebellion being very dirty and gnarly, and the idea that they're the ones that are really doing the dirty work to get to where we will eventually see it in the original trilogy. The idea that these people are the foundation of the eventual victory that we come to know and love. And that is something that fascinates the living shit out of me. I love that stuff, man. The history of Star Wars has always intrigued me in one way or another because, yes, we know where it's all going. Yes, we know that the Empire will eventually fall, but it's all of the stories that are in between that which always fascinate the hell out of me. How did we get from point A to point B? And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of situations that are involved in that get you to the next point in the destination. And seeing that journey is part of the battle. And I loved seeing that stuff, man. And so this intrigues me a lot, man. I'm hoping that we get a lot of really great battle sequences. I mean, it's Star Wars. If we don't, that'd be a goddamn shame. We get to know some characters, we feel for their pain and their anguish, and maybe, hopefully, we see a lot of the friendship relationship between Cassian and K2SO. Because, let's be real, in Rogue One, K2SO was one of the best parts about that movie, okay? He really was, man. And so I hope we get a little bit more of that, and just seeing where the rebellion went from the whole Republic to turning into the rebellion, and maybe some cameos here and there, possibly. I don't know if we'll see Vader in this. Something tells me we're not going to see Vader. I'd like to see the Emperor, but I don't want to see too much of the Emperor. I kind of want to keep him on the down low. Maybe some surprises along the way. I'd like to see some of the stuff. Maybe Jimmy Smith's coming back. That would be cool. There's a lot of possibilities in the Star Wars universe. Okay, a lot of possibilities. And I think we're now heading to a point where Disney doesn't really want to do movies as much as they want to do TV shows for Disney Plus. And I'm cool with that as long as you're willing to tell some intriguing stories and stuff that keeps me involved and engaged with the overall Star Wars mythology. And going back and telling these little itty bitty parts of the story kind of really intrigue me. So I'm on board with this one. I don't think it's going to be the best. I don't think it's going to beat The Mandalorian, not even close. But I like seeing the old school ragtag group of people coming together and fighting for a cause that they believe in. And this looks like a really fun and entertaining ride, and I'm willing to go with it, man. What do you guys think? Are you willing to go with this ride? Are you willing to take the dive into more rebellion goodness? Definitely let me know, because I definitely am, man. But that is for that. Definitely let me know what you guys think about that. But in the meantime, we have seen some good old physical media goodness. Indeed, we have. But what about the second Walmart? Is it going to give us the goodies that we hope? Well, how about we go in? Check it out. All right, everybody, in at the second Walmart. And it's been an interesting adventure finding physical media love this week. Indeed, it has. It's had its moments, let's be fair. But what about the indie goodness? What about the indie bizarro, the weirdness? What about that love? Because, of course, yeah, you have the big budget goodness, but, oh, how I feel about the indie love, baby. Oh, indeed I do. I love the bizarro, the weirdness. So we've got to have some, right? We can't have a week without it. It's been a little while since we have gone without, but I don't want to. I want some. I want indie gold. So do we have it? Please? Bueller? Well, yeah, we kind of do. Yes. Oh, yes, it's back yet again. So you know what that means. That means that we're going back to Film Fan 108 HQ, where you, Seth, yes, you, get to show off all the physical media weirdo-ness. So, can't wait to see what we got this week. 3 points to Hufflepuff. What the hell is this? I mean, what are you doing? I'm old man Dumbledore. you do realize that we're talking about younger Dumbledore, the prequel series, not the old Dumbledore. You know, not the one that has his foot in the grave. You know, the other one that actually is very youthful, right?
Oh, I didn't realize. I get very confused. I was supposed to take my vitamins with Ovaltine this morning, and I forgot. McGonagall was very pissed.
Oh, yeah, I bet she was. You say you're forgetful, huh? Somehow that doesn't shock me.
Wait, what did you say?
I said you're forget. Never mind, alright? I said nothing, alright?
I apologize. I'm very forgetful. I don't even remember where I put the adult diapers this week.
Yeah, something tells me that you are very, very forgetful.
However, you better watch out, young man, because I can still wave a wand like no man's business.
Oh, can ya? Trying to relive those younger days, huh? Oh, sure. Give it a try.
Expecto Patronum. Wait a minute. What was the spell again?
Ah, you almost had it. Don't worry. I'm sure it'll come to you eventually. In the meantime, while you're trying to figure out what the actual spell was and failing epically, how about you just drink the Ovaltine, man? Take the pills, drink the Ovaltine, fall asleep, because something tells me you definitely need it. But before you do that, though, before you fall asleep, even though the Ovaltine's good for you, hold back. How about you show off the physical media? Because if you can't remember the magical spells, maybe you can actually remember what the indie weirdness is to actually show it off. At least I'm hoping you do. Me depending on you. Something about this seems really wrong.
Expecto Petroleum? No. No, that's not it. Petroleus? It'll come to me eventually, but you can count on me though, trust me. I will definitely show off the physical media. Old Dumbledore has your back. I just have to take my vitamins. I couldn't find my Ovaltine, so I got some milk with me. It does the body good, eh? Oh, that's what they say. But I take my vitamins. I'm on one a day. McGonagall says it's good for me. I hope she's not trying to poison me. At my age, I don't know how good this is, but I'll take what I can get. It's a gummy. See? Good. Yeah. Oh, in my tummy. Oh, good. Okay. Now that I've had my one a day, now I can officially start the day with some physical media love. Yes. Oh, physical media is good, no? Oh, it is indeed. Good for even the old wizard like myself. I love seeing the old weirdness and bizarreness. It is good. Little odd. But this old man is okay with it. Oh, indeed he is. Well, I suppose I have to get to the physical media before I forget. What was I doing?
Ah, yes. The one where weirdness is back to grace us with its ever-loving presence yet again. Oh, man, what are we in store for this week? Smorgasbord of weirdness? Yeah, something like that. Let's dive in, shall we? A little bit of escaping the horror? Well, depends if it's escaping the horror and excitement of a movie or just escaping the movie itself. With Walmart, we don't know, man. But let's experience a little bit of escape the field. The hunt is on, yes. The hunt is on indeed, man. Because the fear is inescapable and the suspense is non-stop. Oh, you don't say, do ya? Oh, interesting. Who we got in this thing? Oh man, we got Shane West. Look at that, man. He actually has a little bit of facial hair. Oh, he's growing up. Oh, isn't that sweet? Oh man, what is this about? In this gripping horror thriller about six strangers who suddenly awaken in a remote, endless cornfield. Ooh, creepy. Stripped of their possessions, they are left with only six items: a gun with a single bullet, matches, a lantern, a knife, a compass, and a flask of water. Interesting. As mysterious sirens blare in the distance and traps appear at every turn, the group realizes it's been plunged into a cat and mouse game with an unseen evil, and survival depends upon solving a diabolical and deadly puzzle. Oh man! Damn! I didn't realize that they were doing a Saw reboot. Shit. Those clever motherfuckers. I don't know about clever, but doesn't it kind of feel like a Saw sequel or reboot or something? I mean, cat and mouse game, traps, trying to escape them. I mean, if that doesn't sound like Saw, I don't know what does, man. I mean, literally at the end, if one of the dudes turns out to be the actual killer or the mastermind behind this, man, if they don't have the whole like dun 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 like all the backstory of like here's what I did with my evil plan. Oh man. Oh, if they don't do that, I'd be one pissed motherfucker. Oh, I really would, dude. I mean, very much Saw like. I mean, it also kind of reminds me, in a little bit of ways, it kind of reminds me just ever so slightly of another really great movie that I love, and that is another other than Identity. I really love Identity, man. What a really great movie this is. A bunch of strangers in this motel setting. They don't know one another, but there's this weird, odd connections. What's happening? Who's hunting them? Who's the killer? A lot of really great, mysterious stuff in here, which I really love, man. And the twist, hell, I didn't see it coming. I ain't gonna lie. So I thought that was really intriguing, man. And there's a lot of really great sort of murder mysteries, what's going on, what's happening out there, how do we solve it, who's behind it all. There's a lot of really great stuff out there, but I mean, not always the most interesting and intriguing. Depends on how you do it and how you frame the movie. Identity is one that I really, really love, but this one kind of feels again like it's just ripping off Saw, and that's it. And I think that's the unfortunate thing for me, right? Because when Saw was popular, you saw all of these ripoffs that were coming out year after year after year, just aping off of the success of Saw and not doing it half as well. Well, some did it pretty good, others not so much. And this kind of feels like one of those ones that is a little too late to the party, so to speak. I mean, it has a little bit of Stephen King vibes, even because of the whole idea of the cornfield and the mysterious objects. I mean, it feels like it's trying to ape off of Saw, Stephen King, murder mystery type of deals. It's trying to be everything all at once, and unfortunately, it's not really succeeding. At least I don't think it does. Actors are intriguing, but you kind of see where it's going a mile away. You see that obviously something is happening here. Somebody's manipulating behind the scenes stuff. And if you're a really well versed movie lover, so to speak, you'll kind of see where all of this is heading. I'm not saying that there isn't any twists and turns in here. There probably is some really interesting stuff, but again, if you've seen enough of these type of movies, you know that obviously one of these people have to be the mastermind behind it all. And obviously there's this whole backstory of how they're doing this and why they're doing it to all the people and all the connections. Man, if you've seen one Saw movie, you've seen them all. And if you've seen one Saw movie, you've seen all the Saw ripoffs. And Escape the Field kind of feels like the same thing. Tired and out of date. Well, good news is that, Shane West actually has facial hair. And, I mean, that's an improvement, right? The demonic entity didn't count on one thing. Alicia motherfucking Cuthbert. In the cellar, yes. An ancient evil has awoken. Oh. And Alicia Cuthbert is gonna stop that motherfucker at any cost, baby. Oh, indeed she will, man. God, I like that cover, man. That is a great cover, isn't it? That's pretty cool, dude. Not bad, man. Not bad at all. Oh, man. So, I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, and I did it because, hey, I am kind of a sucker for demonic entity movies. I ain't gonna lie, man. They do kind of float my boat from time to time. So I'm like, hey, another one? Sure, why the hell not? I mean, basically, it's about this family that comes into this new home, and, well, one of the kids goes down into the cellar, and something happens. Something mysterious. The daughter vanishes. Yeah, I know, right? And then suddenly they discover that there's this, like, ancient entity that is completely controlling their new home. And it's up to the mother to take charge and get her family back. Yes, man. You gotta love it, dude. Families that get tortured by demonic and ancient evils. We've seen it a time or two, haven't we, man? I mean, look, I'm gonna be honest here. The movie is okay. It's not great. It's nothing really special. It doesn't change the genre in any way, shape, or form. It really doesn't. I mean, I like Alicia Cuthbert here. She's really good. Everyone else, not half bad. I mean, basically, you slowly get to find out that it is being taken over by this demonic entity. I think it's Baphomet, I think it might have been, the actual entity itself. And you get the standard, obviously, going through, certain paper archives to see what's happened to the home with previous owners, going to this college professor that, will give you more information about the evil entity, slowly seeing signs all over the house that sort of give you, oh my God, we never saw this before. Oh my God, the revelations. And you're thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, didn't they have a home inspector come in and check this motherfucker? Like, seriously, the home inspector didn't find anything out of the ordinary? Oh yeah, by the way, folks, just to let you know on my way out here, thanks for paying me and all, but, you have this, like, demonic entity sign over here, the pentagram stuff over there, weird symbols on the walls over here. Yeah, it's just kind of odd. I mean, do what you want, it's your home now, but yeah, I'd get the fuck out. I mean, jeez, man. God, they really need to fire that home inspector, man, because that motherfucker did a terrible job. Shit. I mean, look, to be honest with you, it's standard stuff. I did really like some of the creepy scares, some of the atmospheric horror that they had in there, and I really like seeing the actual entity itself. Very big, imposing, badass, scary. Like, that's some really cool stuff, but it's all kind of mundane and average, and you've seen it all before. I mean, there's a lot of really great ones out there that has done some really great stuff with families in peril with ancient evils and demonic entities. Like Poltergeist, yes, whether it's Poltergeist, Poltergeist 2, Poltergeist 3. I mean, seriously, man, these people can't catch a break. My God, dude. Or maybe all they want is Carol Ann, right? Just give us the girl. I mean, look, in the United States, we do not negotiate with terrorists, demonic entities, or spirits like ghosts, okay? We just don't do that shit, right? This is not a fucking negotiation. This is not a hostage takeover. You're not getting Carol Ann. Nobody's taking Carol Ann. Oh man, but I do really love the Poltergeist stuff. That's really phenomenal, man. I love that shit. That's really great. I also really gotta give a lot of love, to be honest with you, to a movie like Come Play. Man, if you have never seen this movie, I highly recommend it. I just love the idea of this demonic entity coming through this electronic device and trying to take the child. It's really great, way better than I think it has any right to be, and I really dug this movie a lot. It is so effing fantastic, man. It really is phenomenal. Man, creepy and scary as hell. Love the shit out of that movie. So good. Also, look, when you're talking about these movies, of course, I mean, seriously, you gotta talk about The Conjuring, man. I mean, The Conjuring movies in general, but the first Conjuring is absolutely amazing. Still to this day, out of all the Conjuring movies, the first one is the best, clearly. And I just love what James Wan is able to do with silence in the film and moments where you're unsettled as it is, and then there's a loud like boom or some sort of imagery in the background that you're like, what the fuck is this shit? I mean, he's really fantastic, especially in this movie. Absolutely phenomenal. Of course, you can also say movies like Amityville, which is really great. Obviously, some of the Insidious films too, which are really fantastic. Those are phenomenal. I'd also recommend a little bit of Fulci love with House by the Cemetery. Yes, man. Creepy imagery, weird story, man. A lot of unexplained shit, but so fucking good, man. Man, classic Fulci right there. Love the shit out of that. There's so many really great ones out there that are really fantastic when it comes to that type of genre, man. Really phenomenal stuff. Love that type of movie. But then again, there's a lot of ones that aren't as good as they could be. I mean, as much as I love the first House movie, which is really great, comedic moments with some dramatic moments as well, some of the later House movies, not so much. Then again, they've also tried to do some of the, like, parody stuff, which sometimes isn't always the hottest either. I mean, it depends. Sometimes you're able to get away with really good ones. Sometimes if you're trying to do a parody, it isn't always working as well as you'd want either. It's tough to do those type of films, man, and really make it successful and atmospheric, no matter if you're making a comedy or whether you're making a true horror film. Sometimes you just got to get the right balance, man. That's the honest truth about it. And with something like The Cellar, man, you know, it's an interesting idea and I like it, but again, like if you've seen a lot of these sort of demonic entities terrorizing a home and a family, you've seen it all. I like the idea of slowly unraveling a mystery, and I think that's really cool. But again, it's nothing new. It doesn't bring anything new to the table. And again, it's just aping off of better ones that you've seen. And that's a goddamn shame, man. Especially with some of the cool little scary moments in here and with some of the creature effects. It is cool at times, but it just feels like been there, done that, average, mundane, and yeah, at the end of the day, it just came off kind of more as a time waster than anything else. Shame because it has some really good moments to it, but didn't really completely work for me. I mean, that being said, the most shocking thing about this movie, swear to God, is Alicia Cuthbert. Holy shit, man. When I was watching this movie, I was like, what the hell happened, man? I really am getting old. I'm not gonna lie here, guys. I'm getting old as a motherfucker when Alicia Cuthbert is playing mom roles now. What the fuck? Seriously? What the hell, man? I remember her in like The Girl Next Door and some of those really great teen flicks, man. And now she's playing a mom? Damn, dude. God, it sucks getting old. Shit, it really honestly does, man. I mean, I'm sure you guys have experienced seeing some really great actresses where you're like, oh my God, they're so hot. And then years later, like 10, 20 years later, you're like, oh my God, they're playing a mother? Jeez, man, where the fuck did time go? Shit. However, honestly, if I was to put money between the demonic entity and Alicia Cuthbert, no offense to the demonic entity. I mean, you're scary and all, but honestly, Alicia Cuthbert, she's got my vote. All praise the 666 in demonic, yes. It's not a dream. Hell, it's not even reality. It's an absolute nightmare. Oh, baby. Yeah, sure, why not? Oh, man. I got a chance to watch this on Amazon Prime, and I did it out of a few things. Yes, hey, just like Seller, I like demonic entity movies, so what the fuck, I went for it. Also, it happened to be directed by the guy who did District 9, which, by the way, I really love, and I keep giving him chance after motherfucking chance. So why the hell not, right? That guy directing a demonic entity movie, how could this go wrong? Yeah, about that. So basically, it's about this girl that had a very traumatic life with her mother because one day something bad happens with her mom and she's changed somehow. She's not the woman that she used to be. And basically, she does a lot of these sort of bad things, crime stuff, and killing people. She basically goes into a prison, sanitarium, asylum, you name it. And years later, the little girl is now grown up, and basically, there is this scientist research facility that basically, like, you could recontact your mother through this digital platform that we've created where you can go inside her mind and her thoughts and her dreams in a digital world. And she's kind of skeptical about it. It's kind of sketchy, but she does it anyways because if there's a chance that she can save her mother, she might want to do it. And so basically, it's her going into her mind, trying to help her escape this demonic demon entity and all the complications and the horror that goes with that. Now, look, I have seen a hell of a lot, and I mean a hell of a lot of demonic entity movies, man. I have seen way too many of those motherfuckers, alright? I've seen a shitload of them, and at this point, nothing really shocks me. Nothing really, I don't want to say floats my boat, but it's hard to really get me on board with something. But when you do an idea of doing sort of like a digital platform idea, putting digital technology into the demonic entity realm, that kind of intrigues me a little bit. I like the idea behind that. Unfortunately, man, they shit the bed. I mean, goddamn, dude. I mean, basically, it's like a Sims game, only more modernized. I mean, not that I know much about Sims. I mean, shit, I only played it like once in my early 20s, but what the fuck, man? I mean, seriously. It's kind of cool going into her mind and brain and interesting, ways to go about that, but I don't think they play it as well as they could have played it. I mean, let's be real, man. There's a lot of really great ways that you could have done this, and they don't really go that way. It kind of feels average and mundane, kind of like The Cellar, man, but I like The Cellar a little bit more. Demonic, unfortunately, is just going through the motions. And yeah, there's that cool little idea of the digital landscape and obviously digital technology and computers and demonic entities and, how they can escape through the digital realm. There's some cool ideas here, but none of it is really explored in any meaningful or interesting way. The characters are kind of bland and lifeless and sometimes absolutely stupid and moronic, and literally you're sitting there yelling at the fucking screen. You're like, come on, man. I mean, I know that you were smart like 5 minutes ago, but you mind getting back to that again so actually I don't have to beat my fucking TV to death? I mean, seriously, you get so frustrated that you just want to, like, just jump into the fucking screen and just choke the life out of these motherfuckers. I mean, seriously. Dude, I mean, I'm not the smartest apple in the orchard, but fuck, man, hell, I'd do a lot better than some of these motherfuckers would. Damn, man. I seriously would, dude. It's just kind of frustrating and idiotic at points, and kind of been there, done that. Even though there's an interesting idea behind it, they don't do anything fascinating or really revelatory with it. It's just average horror that's been done a time or two already. I mean, look, I have seen some really good demonic entity movies, man. There have been some amazing ones out there. Like the granddaddy of them all, The Exorcist. This is the one that literally started it all. I mean, not that there wasn't some before this, but let's be real. After this, everyone, even today, people are still aping off of The Exorcist. It's just that damn good, folks. It's really atmospheric. It's creepy. Linda Blair is fucking amazing. Man, it's just still an effective film to this very day, man. And it literally haunts people's dreams. Man, I fucking love The Exorcist, man. Classic, baby. Absolutely classic. Love that one. One of the newer ones I really do love as well is The Unholy. Like, this one was a real surprise for me, man. This one was actually way better than I thought it had any right to be. I mean, yes, at the end, in the third act, there's the whole big, like, bombastic ending with the huge amount of CGI and, you know, the entity flying around and all the crazy shit. And yeah, you've seen that a time or two. But for the most part, it's really effective. The characters are really well-rounded. Love the story. I love the entity. Thought it was really, really fantastic, man. That is a phenomenal movie, man. Better than it had any right to be. Love that one a lot. Think that's absolutely phenomenal. I also gotta say one that doesn't get nearly as much love, but goddamn do I love it. This is really phenomenal, and that is The Manitou. Oh man, The Manitou is absolutely fucking amazing, dude. I mean, this Native American demon coming out of this woman, this tumor, my god, and then it sort of grows and it's taking over the hospital and shit. My god, man. I was fucking amazed by this movie when I saw it the first time, man, and I still love it to this day, man. So good. Kind of cheesy, yeah, but it can't be, but I really enjoy it, man. I think it's really, really phenomenal, man. Really, really great, all things considered. I mean, there's some other really great ones out there, like a movie called The Entity, which is really fantastic, man. That is creepy and really disturbing. Love that movie. And there's so many other really ones that are just as effective as well, that are really phenomenal. There's a lot of really great ones out there, demonic entity movies. But then again, there's a lot of really bad ones, man. And unfortunately, I kind of feel that there's more bad than there is good. Occasionally, as far as newer stuff is concerned, sometimes you get an exception. Like, something that I really loved is of recent, The Exorcism of God, which is really fantastic and phenomenal. Way better than I thought it had any right to be. But then you get something like demonic, and you realize that, yeah, Hollywood is really running out of ideas. I mean, seriously, it really is like a motherfucker. And unfortunately, with the demonic entity genre, exorcism stuff, you name it, unfortunately, I kind of feel like it's run its course. And every so often, you do get a movie that reminds you how great the genre can really be. And then there's other moments where you see movies like this and you're like, yeah, there really isn't much else to do, and you're just spinning your wheels, and it's kind of a cheap thing to make, and you make it, and hopefully you make your money back and go on to the next thing. I mean, that's pretty much what this movie is. It's nothing special, it's just average, and even at moments it's kind of below average. And it's a real shame because there's moments with the demonic entity and the mother and how creepy the mother is and how she's acting, and some of the scares can be effective at times, but it's kind of been there, done that. You've seen it all before, done better, and the concept of the digital realm is interesting, but unfortunately it's done to sort of mundane effect. And it's a real shame because this is the director of District 9. This is Neil motherfucking Blomkamp. And I used to love Neil Blomkamp, man. I mean, trust me. Let me just say this, man. Right off the bat, no doubt, I am a huge, and I mean seriously, a huge motherfucking fan. No doubt about it. I love this movie so goddamn much, man. Huge, hell of a huge fan of District 9. God, do I love District 9, man. When I saw this movie for the first time, it blew my fucking mind away, man. The idea that this director really came up with this concept and the world that he created was absolutely amazing and awesome, and I just loved it. It felt so real to me, a lived in world. I just loved it and I wanted more of it. And there was all this talk about maybe District 10. He had sort of teased the idea of it and everybody wanted it. And instead of doing that, he did Elysium instead with Matt Damon. And now look, I don't hate Elysium, but I don't really love Elysium either. It's some really great ideas and concepts that isn't really done to its fullest absolute potential. And unfortunately, some of the characters are bland and lifeless and not really all that interesting. The facility and the idea of Elysium is interesting, but everything around it sort of crashes and burns. And by the way, don't even get me started with Chappie, man. Okay, goddamn, man, that movie had so much potential, but fucking hell, that's a dumpster fire, dude. So, look, Neil Blomkamp went from somebody who was this great up-and-coming filmmaker, this savior of cinema, and now, honestly, from the savior of cinema to just an average and lifeless demonic entity movie. Fuck, man, dude. A career can really go down the drain in a drop of a hat, and Demonic proves it. Fuck, dude, it really honestly can. Now look, Neil Blomkamp has said, hey, we're doing District 10. Yeah, a little late there, Neil, but fuck, I'll take it. Might as well. It's the only thing you got in your career left, man. I mean, I heard he was wanting to do like an Alien movie, like an Alien sequel with Sigourney Weaver, which I thought, okay, cool. But again, your track record isn't exactly hot. I mean, Demonic proves that, look, man, you have a director here that has moments of brilliance, but just can't quite pull off the concept the way that it needs to be, man. In better hands, maybe this would be interesting. In a James Wan hand, I think this would be really fantastic. But with Neil Blomkamp, I just feel like he thinks it's unique and interesting, but at the end of the day, he's not doing anything new that you haven't already seen. The digital stuff is cool, but man, just play a fucking Sims game. You'll get more satisfaction out of it, seriously, brother. I mean, come on, dude. It ain't that great, and unfortunately, honestly, just stick to the classics because a lot of the newer shit, like Demonic, proves that, honestly, this is a subgenre of horror that really just, frankly, just needs to die off, man, because the good shit has already come out, and a lot of this other shit is just really aping off of the better shit. And honestly, just watch that shit because honestly, you'll get more satisfaction than the new shit. Seriously. Don't waste your time, folks. I did, and honestly, I'm wishing for an exorcism so I can forget this fucking flick. Sorry, Neil, but you've seen better days, brother. You really honestly have, man. Doing something cool with a digital idea in a demonic world, and they still can't pull the shit off. Of course. Well, they can't pull it off, but hey, the Walmart weirdness can. They always can because they always give us the weirdest and the oddest of the odd, and I so appreciate it. Well, kind of.
6 strangers playing the game, trying to survive. Oh no. Is Jigsaw still alive? I thought he died a long time ago. Oh, he's got more lives than Voldemort. Alicia Cuthbert versus an ancient evil. I'll put my money on Alicia. Oh, Alicia. Oh. I just got a chubby. I'm not sorry. And putting technology in a demonic entity movie, and they still can't get it right. maybe they need to try harder. And this is coming from an old man that barely gets it up. Well, try and try and try again, I suppose. Eh? Oh no. Oh, the Walmart weirdness is back. I guess. Oh, I guess so. Oh, good this week. Good. Good. Yeah, good. I suppose. I'm old. I like old school Jerry Lewis movies. He's not in these. I'm still waiting for the telethon. I don't know when they're airing it. But if you know, tell me, please. I'd like to donate. I would indeed, yes. Walmart weirdness, yes. Good. Oh, good indeed. Well, I guess that's it for the Walmart weirdness. The oddities, the bizarreness. It was good. I don't get out much. I don't see many movies. Last movie I saw in the theater was Spartacus. I'm still trying to figure out who was Spartacus. Very confusing. Oh. Well, I suppose it's time to go to the next location. I've got to take more of my vitamins. Where's my vitamins? I don't know. Well, you go on ahead without me. I'm sure I'll find them eventually. I'll just have to conjure up my vitamins. But in the meantime, hopefully there's more physical media ahead. Oh, I remember the good old days of VHS. Those are good days. Oh, those are good days indeed. All right, well, enjoy your Blu-rays and your 4Ks and your DVDs. Oh, you kids out there. Oh, back in my day, we didn't have much. We had a TV with rabbit ears and maybe one channel. Not much. But, nowadays, kids are spoiled. Oh, you kids out there, so spoiled. Okay, well, have a good time at the next location, and I'll try to find my vitamins. Expectro vitaminus! Where'd my vitamins go?
All right, everybody, we are at our fourth and final location, and look, you find physical media love wherever you want to, but sometimes a bookstore is where it's at, shockingly enough. Oh, you know where we're at, baby, you know where we're going. A place that's becoming an oddly favorite of mine. How weird is that, actually? Is none other than, oh yes, Barnes and Nobles, baby. We are back yet again for all the Barnes and Nobles craziness, the madness. What will they have in store this week? They've been good with physical media lovers of late. They truly have. And so why not try them yet again? Don't know what's in store, but I'm hoping for a little bit of a surprise. How about we go in, check out what they have. All right, everybody, we are back in a good old B&N, baby, and hopefully the new release love is plentiful this week. Well, not so much, actually. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of the same new release stuff that we've seen previous weeks. I mean, even over here, same stuff. Nothing really spectacular. Hell, I don't even really see any Fantastic Beasts love here. Guess Barnes & Nobles aren't really a big fan, are they? But apparently they're a fan of Stephen King. Because I see you, Firestarter. I do indeed. Of course, I had to have you, of all things. We're in Barnes & Nobles, folks. They're mainly a book place, so of course they're gonna have the Stephen King love. The Blu-ray, DVD, digital for, what, $35? Jeez. I mean, I know it's 30% off, but holy shit. Man, this movie is definitely not worth that. Damn, dude. I don't even think they're selling that shit on eBay for that price, man. God damn, dude. You drive a hard bargain, Barnes & Nobles, but I think I'll pass, man. Oh, I think I will indeed, dude. Oh, my lord, baby. I think I would pass on the movie regardless, because it ain't that hot, folks. I'm just being real with you. Ah, dude, horror remakes. Horror remakes. Let's talk about horror remakes, shall we? I mean, it's not like I want to or anything, because most horror remakes are shit, but yet we have more horror remakes coming down the line. Why? Why exactly? I'm trying to figure this out, man, because, you know, I remember in the early 2000s, we were getting a lot of horror remakes, man. We were getting The Stepfather, House on Sorority Row remake. We were getting The Grudge, and we were getting so many other ones, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and My Bloody Valentine, and so many, The Eye, and so many have happened since. I mean, whether it's Halloween, Friday the 13th, Child's Play, I mean, I could go on and frickin' on, man. I mean, seriously, Nightmare on Elm Street, well, man, talk about one of the worst of them all. They have remade a lot of horror movies, and honestly, the results aren't really all that great. But then again, I can't say the horror remakes are all bad either, because there have been some that have really surprised me, like John Carpenter's The Thing. That's a remake, and that's amazing. You look at something like The Blob from the 80s. That's a remake, and that's absolutely phenomenal. So it's not like all remakes are bad exactly. I mean, even if you look at something like the My Bloody Valentine remake, actually, that is a pretty good remake, all things considered. It actually ain't that half bad, man. But unfortunately, it's just most of the time a cash grab. If it ends up actually being good, sometimes that's actually an accident. I mean, seriously, it really is. I mean, even when you look at something like Black Christmas, that has literally been remade 2 fucking times. And both of those times actually ain't that fucking hot. So sometimes you go back to the well multiple times and you still can't get the shit right. But Firestarter, I mean, come on, man. You know, I understand why, because in some ways, if you really think about it, we are in a Stephen King renaissance, right? Now Stephen King is reevaluated and reappreciated, and everybody is getting back on the Stephen King bandwagon, and so are movie studios, because, let's be real, Dr. Sleep... When Dr. Sleep came out, that shocked everybody. Nobody expected that film to be half as good as what it turned out to be. I mean, I'm serious, man, because people are like, wait a minute, so it's the official sequel to The Shining so many years later? Really? They're gonna try to pull this shit off? And honestly, dude, I was in the movie theater and I was loving every second of it. I'm like, holy shit, they actually pulled this off. It's actually really fucking good, man. How is that even possible? I mean, seriously, it was a real shocker, man. I think to a lot of people it really was. And that movie, I think, will eventually, in 10, 20, 30 years' time, will be a classic just like the original Shining is. I truly do believe that. But then, when that film came out, everyone's like, oh my god, Stephen King, alright, man. And we were getting, like, the Pet Sematary remake, which... oh man, don't get me started, will ya? That movie is pure shit, alright? It has nothing, and I mean nothing, on the original Pet Sematary whatsoever, dude. But then again, I gotta give a lot of love to It Chapter 1 and 2, because those are really good remakes. I mean, those are really phenomenal films, man. And I think they are better than the original It. I mean, maybe... Pennywise is not as iconic as Tim Curry, but I think switching it up to 2 different films, I think made it a lot better. You could end up doing better with the story, exploring the characters more, the situations. I think you made an overall better experience switching it up to 2 different films. Now, of course, most people like It Chapter 1 better than It Chapter 2. I get it, it is a better film, but I tend to like It Chapter 2 quite a bit, man. I mean... warts and all, I think it's a pretty good story, man, and you get to flesh out the characters more and their explorations and their motivations, and I think the ending with Pennywise is much more satisfying in this than it is in the original tale. I know, I'm sure some of you guys are going to majorly disagree with me, but I just think that they had more time to really tell the story and figure it out and make a more satisfying experience, put it that way. But then again, back to It's Not Always Sunny, because, yeah, the remake to The Stand. Oh, God. I watched that, man, and honestly, the original is much better. I mean, there is some things in the remake that they end up adapting slightly better than they do in the original, but they did a lot of changes, and I just don't think it really adapted as well as they were hoping it did. It came off, at least for me, in the new adaptation, more goofy than anything else. Maybe moments that they thought would come off sinister like it does in the book doesn't translate as well on screen. I think they adapted it better in the original than they did in the remake. Yeah, it didn't quite work moments, but overall, not as satisfying, not as really good as I was hoping it was going to be, at least. But then again, back to good moments, because I thought that Salem's Lot actually was pretty solid, actually. The remake with Rob Lowe, much better than I think people give it credit for. It's not as good as the original, all right? Fair enough. It's never, and I mean never, going to be as good as the original, all right? That's just truth, all right? That's fact. But I still think it's actually a pretty solid remake, man. I like the makeup effects. I like the story. I like some of the changes that they did. It doesn't all work, but it's not a train wreck either. It's actually pretty solid, man. So, look, there is moments where remakes hit really well for Stephen King, and other times where it falls absolutely flat on its ass, alright? It really does, but that's Stephen King for you, in all honesty, because some adaptations are really amazing. You look at something like Christine, or you look at something like The Shining, man, where those filmmakers took the idea of Stephen King and made it their own without betraying what the book was all about. Maybe Stephen King didn't like all of the changes, but he definitely had to appreciate it, and those movies have turned out to be absolute classics. Sometimes when filmmakers try to be too faithful, sometimes it doesn't always work to their benefit. There's a balance, to be honest with you. There's a real balance, and I think it's just project to project. Some you have to be more faithful, and others you have to take a little bit of a risk. Firestarter is one of those ones where, to be honest with you, the book is really solid, and I think changing it doesn't always benefit you. And I think in this case, that is one of those instances where it just didn't end up being in your favor, man. I mean, changing the girl's age, changing certain formats, and trying to tell a more straightforward story ended up becoming more boring than anything else. I mean, I don't mind when you abandon certain story elements. I don't mind when you change things up. But there has to be a solid reason why you're doing it, and it has to benefit the story because of it. And unfortunately with Firestarter, that's just not the case, man. And that really stinks, dude. I mean, I just think they abandoned a lot of the really great stuff that made that book what it was, and didn't really replace it with anything satisfying. And that's the really fucked up thing about it. That's the thing that really stings, dude, because I look at this movie and I'm like, okay, if you want to remake it, fine. We're in a Stephen King renaissance. You want to remake everything in the world that is Stephen King? Okay, but you have to make it good, or what's the point? If you're really gonna go out of your way to do a movie about a girl that's able to start fires with her mind, then you really have to pay that off in a big bad way, especially now in 2021, 22, where you can do the special effects and really give it this grand epic scale that it didn't have before. You've got to pay that off, and they just don't do it, man. I mean, there's moments towards the end, but it's so quick that you don't even really care about it. And you went this whole film not really caring about the characters or the situations, so why start now? I think this is just a huge misfire. It's a cash grab. I mean, most remakes nowadays are cash grabs, but this one especially, man. They knew that we are in a Stephen King renaissance. They knew Stephen King is popular. Firestarter is a name brand, and so they're like, well, if we can cash in a little bit, make a film that, well, we don't care whether it's worthy or not. It's a name, and so getting it out there, people are going to watch it, and indeed they did, but not many actually liked it. you can remake everything all you want. You can rebrand something and make it for the masses because it's Stephen King, but if it's not good, then, well, you're gonna hear it. And honestly, they're hearing it because there's a lot of reviews out there. People have shit on this movie big time, and there's a reason why. Because honestly, it's a dumpster fire. No pun intended. It really is that bad, man. There has been a lot of Stephen King adaptations out there. A lot of them. I mean, hell, The Shining has been remade God knows how many times. Hell, The Mist has been remade. Children of the Corn, and so on and so forth, man. And honestly, sometimes you gotta stick with the originals because there's something about the old school originals back in the day that got it right. And somehow these remakes, can't say they're all getting it wrong, but they're missing something in the translation. And this is yet another one where the translation didn't exactly go the way they were hoping for. Better luck next time? Well, I highly doubt better luck next time. But then again, you could watch the 2002 miniseries of Firestarter Rekindled. You remember that? I do. I definitely do, man. With Malcolm McDowell and Dennis Hopper. Yes. Oh my god, man. Nobody remembers that shit, dude. Seriously. God, that is a blast from the past, man. Yeah, basically Charlie is older and now she's battling these talented children and John Rainbird is the cult leader and she's going after him. It's so good, man. Kind of ridiculous and cheesy, but kind of that pseudo sequel that no one asked for either. It's what it is, man. But trust me, it's one of those forgotten Stephen King adaptation sequels where like nobody ever brings that shit up anymore. But I thought I'd remind you for the hell of it. I definitely do, man. But honestly, even that is better than this shit. Alright, seriously. Way better, man. Well, I'm sure we'll get another Firestarter remake 10 years from now, and that one will blow chunks too. Just stick with the original, goddammit, seriously. Originals, they are the best. Just saying, man, they really honestly are, and Firestarter proves it. That's for damn sure, man. It definitely does, dude. Oh, they had to have the Stephen King love, but what about any more physical media goodness? Any at all, perhaps? Bueller? We can at least go check. And checking does indeed pay off because, yes, this week, the Criterion Gold gives us a little bit of Pink Flamingos weirdness. Oh my god. This is phenomenal. The fact that Pink Flamingos actually got a Criterion release. Oh my god, man. Seriously, when you saw this movie back in the day, did you think that it was ever going to get boutique label love? Something told me that this thing would be buried, and the fact that Criterion, high profile auteur Criterion, gave Pink Flamingo the love, that is truly shocking, man. Kind of like the movie, but so good. Oh, so good indeed, man. I remember when I watched Pink Flamingos the first time, long time ago, and dude, I was just in shock. I was just so blown away. I was like, whoa. Oh my god, I had never seen anything like this. And I'm like, oh my god, John Waters. Whoa, this guy is wild. This was a really bold film, man. It was incredibly bold and unpredictable and crazy and ridiculous, and I loved every single second of this film, man. It has a certain charm to it that can't be denied, and I think it's because of John Waters that it is that way. Because he's a filmmaker that takes gross and insensitive stuff, and for some reason you kind of like it. Even though you're kind of repulsed by it, you're kind of like, man, I don't know, I kind of dig this. I really do. And Pink Flamingos is one of those ones, man. And I gotta give Divine a lot of credit, man. Divine, you know, there is no one that is ever gonna be like Divine. Divine was someone who broke all the rules and who didn't give a damn and was given the chance to be in films when probably no one else would have even dared put that person in a film, and John Waters did, and thank the Lord for it, because Divine is amazing. I love the fact that Divine is willing to do things that nobody else does. And there are things in this film that literally like make your jaw drop. There's stuff where you're like, he did that? Like, yeah, they did, man. Oh, Lord. It is really just so over the top and crazy. It's hard to just say it. You have to experience it. I mean, really, you honestly do, man. I mean, there is things in here that you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe they went there. Things like incest or cannibalism, shrimping, you name it. Things where you're like, whoa. But again, there's a certain type of charm and artistic quality that make it really, really well done, better than it had any right to be, honestly. And I really love that. And I love John Waters as a filmmaker, man. I mean, I can't say I love everything John Waters, but I really do dig him as a filmmaker. I think my favorite one that he did, probably honestly, well, not really his most mainstream, but one of his most mainstream is Serial Mom. I mean, dude, I love Serial Mom. Serial Mom is my favorite among the bunch. I mean, yes, I love Hairspray. Hairspray is definitely the most mainstream one, but I gotta give it to Serial Mom. And there's something about this woman that's very wholesome, very conservative, and the stuff that comes out of her fucking mouth. Lord, that is some crazy stuff, man. I just love her saying, "Pussy Willows." There's something about that is utterly satisfying, man. Really. I mean, some of the later John Waters stuff I'm not as huge of a fan of. Like Cecil B. Demented, I'm not as huge of a fan of that as some other people are. Moments, but didn't quite hit with me. Didn't feel like old school John Waters. Even something like A Dirty Shame, which probably has moments where it really feels like old school John Waters, but I kind of feel like if that movie was done like even a decade earlier, I think it would have been a much more wilder experience, and it feels a little tamed down. I feel like, yeah, not as much like outward craziness of John Waters that I was really hoping for, but the unrated cut is really crazy, man. But I kind of feel like he had to tone it down for the sake of actually getting it made. It's not really my jam, but then again, I am a really big fan of Packer. So I do really like that film, man. That's another one that I would love to see get a great boutique label release. Criterion, in fact. Come on, Criterion. If you release Pink Flamingos, you can release Packer, damn it. You can. I do really dig that film, man. Christina Ricci is really great in there, and I like Edward Furlong. It's way better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. I think it's one of his better ones in his later career. I really do, man. But I love a lot of his stuff, man. Polyester is really great, and of course I love Cry Baby too. He's just a really bold and unique filmmaker that did a lot of really unique films, and there is nobody, and I mean nobody, that will ever equal John Waters, man. He is just that unique and that demented. And God love him for it, truly, honestly, man. But I cannot believe that this film actually got Criterion love, man. Seriously, that is so odd, man. That's crazy. Wow. And I just love the packaging on this. Like, there's a slipcover here, and it kind of looks like a brown bag. Like, you're like, I don't want to show people what this is, so I'm just gonna take it with me under my coat. It's like one of those ones where you're ashamed to show people, but you really want it. I love that with the brown paper bag, dude. And that's really great because a lot of times you don't really get Criterions with slipcovers to them. I mean, there will be certain editions like Night of the Living Dead or Menace to Society that have different packaging, but nothing with a slipcover. You don't always get slipcovers with Criterion love, man. Back in the day they used to do some, but not so much anymore, dude. Oh, that's so cool that you have slipcover goodness with this as well. Oh, that's so great. Oh, look at those features. Awesome. Oh, man. God, in all of my years of living, I never thought that I'd actually see Pink Flamingos get a great collector's release like this. Man, if Pink Flamingos can get this, then any goddamn movie can, because Pink Flamingos, man, what a wild experience that one was, man. But Is it worth a revisit? Maybe one of these days it is. Perhaps during the Criterion sale, I'll have to perhaps get it. I mean, we are at the end of June, so it really is right around the corner that the Criterion sale is happening, so perfect time for 50% love, perhaps. Perhaps indeed. Oh, maybe. Maybe indeed, man, but so good to see Pink Flamingos love, dude. Wow. What a surprise indeed, baby. Oh, so good, man. And so good for the physical media goodness, as always, for good old B&M, baby. Not bad at all. Let's head out. Not half bad, B&N. Not bad at all. Okay, they could have been a little bit better. They could have had the Fantastic Beasts love, but you know what I was going to do. I was just going to shit on it anyway. So whether it was over at Walmart or Target or here, it wasn't going to get the love. So you guys know that. So, hey, they spared me from shitting on it one more time. So, thank you. Thank you indeed, man. But they had a little bit of Stephen King gold. They had Pink Flamingos, John Waters craziness. Oh yes, that one is definitely going to be on the bucket list for the Criterion sale. That's for damn sure, man. Oh, not half bad, baby. Not half bad at all for good old Barnes & Nobles, man. They don't always have all the titles, but they definitely do try their best with the physical media love. That's for damn sure, man. So I appreciate what they're able to give me. That's for damn sure. Hopefully you were satisfied as well with all the physical media gold this week. But how about we head home and finish the video? All right, everybody. That'll do it for the Blu-ray and DVD out and about video this week, and it turned out not to be half bad, all things considered, man. We saw some cool stuff wherever we went, so it ended up working out pretty darn good. I can't say that every week ends up being like this, because let's be real. If you've been watching the channel long enough and you've been watching the out and abouts all the time, you realize that some weeks are more plentiful than others, and some weeks are downright dreadful. But hey, we got some exclusive love, we got some new release goodness, a surprise here or two as well. Hey, I'll take it. I hope you will as well. There was some good stuff out there. Hopefully you picked up something good. If you did, definitely let me know. As far as I'm concerned. Oh, yes, I did pick up a couple things here and there. For instance, I was at the second Walmart. I was looking at the Indie Love, and I noticed, oh my god, they finally have this. Lord knows it took them long enough to finally get the goddamn thing in, but I'm so happy that they finally did. And of course I had to pick it up. Oh, indeed I did. And that is none other than a little bit of Vestron love with extreme prejudice. Oh, yes. Look at this, baby. Oh, so good, man. An army of forgotten heroes, all officially dead. They live for combat, and now they've met the wrong man. Oh, indeed they have, dude. Wow. Oh, this is so great. I'm glad I finally picked this up, man. I was hoping it was going to be in stores, but it never was for the longest time. And I was like, oh, should I get it online? Maybe. And I was like this close to doing it. And then Walmart ended up saving the day. Crazy enough, man. But, dude, I got to admit, I don't always buy Vestron. I mean, I love Vestron. Vestron is a really cool label. Not everything is worthy of a grab for me. But this one, man, at first I was a little, should I get it? Should I not? I remember watching it a long time ago, years ago with my dad. And this was a really fun movie. And I just kind of thought to myself, God, I really do want to revisit it. It's for a really great price. And so I'm going to go for it, dude. And what a great movie this is. It's like a modern day Western in a lot of ways. I love this movie, the characters, the action, the thrills, Nick Nolte, Powers Booth, Michael Ironside, so many really great fucking actors, man. And directed by Walter Hill, which, by the way, Walter Hill is, or was, a really fantastic director and has made some amazing movies out there. And Extreme Prejudice is definitely one of them, man. I was eyeing it. I was kind of going back and forth, but I figure, you know what? It is a really great movie. I really love the Western vibes in here. Nick Nolte is fucking badass. And I'm like, yeah, it's gotta have a place in the collection. It's gotta, man. Well worthy add-on, too, by the way. Look, I can't say that every Vestron movie is worth grabbing. Some are better than others, but I do believe that Vestron has really been hitting it out of the park as of late, and Extreme Justice is yet another example of the great picks that Vestron is putting out, and I definitely had to add this one to the collection. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you have watched this one. If you haven't, oh, it's so good! You gotta grab it at some point, man. A very worthy addition for action lovers out there who love a little bit of Western goodness mixed in. Oh, not half bad, baby. Not bad at all. Oh, we ain't done yet. Oh, we definitely aren't, because honestly, look, I could have just shown you the Vestron release, and even that alone, pretty damn sweet. But this package, oh, I mean, this package. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, look at this long and luscious package. What is this exactly? Well, it comes from Red Sky Vision. Red Sky Vision? What is Red Sky Vision? And what the hell is in this? Well, you don't know, but I do. Oh, indeed I do, man. Let's just put it this way. It is a documentary that I have been waiting to get for a long, long time. I contributed a long time ago, and I have just been waiting patiently for years to finally get this in the mail. And man, I really hope it's worth it, dude. It is gonna be amazing. It is about a time period in movie history that deserves all the love it can possibly get. Oh, baby, you might not know what it is, but oh, you'll eventually find out with my June Blu-ray pickup video. And it's gonna take me a while to get there, but when I do, movies like this are gonna be well worth talking about. Oh, indeed it is, baby. Oh man, I got a lot of really wonderful packages in the mail for this month, man. So many fantastic things that I've gotten. I mean, there's been some amazing stuff that I've got. Boutique label love, new releases, surprises galore, and even stuff that I hadn't even shown you guys. Oh man, there's gonna be some wickedly amazing stuff that I've gotten. But I guess you'll just have to be patient and wait now, won't you? Oh, indeed you will, but it'll be worth it. Indeed it will, man. Some interesting, unique boutique label packaging love. And well worth it, too. And a little bit of Vestron gold? I think I definitely have some titles that will be worthy for the collection. And before I let you guys go, I gotta talk about this. Now, this week we were talking about Fantastic Beasts, the franchise, Harry Potter, and the fan base is very rabid and very passionate, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that of any fan base. But sometimes there's a difference between loyalty and toxic. And with this, we're heading a little bit in one direction, and it's not the right one. From Slash Film, it's time to stop letting a vocal minority of toxic fans ruin Star Wars. Or for that matter, any franchise. Let's dive in, shall we? Let's indeed. I often say very seriously that I do not have memories that date back further than my love of Star Wars. My mom was fortunate enough to see George Lucas's original 1977 blockbuster classic upon its release that summer many, many times. And it became a defining pillar of pop culture for her. As any good parent would do, she opted to introduce me to the delights that a galaxy far, far away has to offer at a young age. Star Wars is a lot more than some movies, toys, and TV shows to me. I am also fond of saying that it is as close as I get to religion. All of this is to say, holy shit, do I love Star Wars. But the past several years have truly tested the limits of what that love can bear, as the fandom has become a genuinely toxic, ugly place ever since the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi in 2017. There have been moments of unity and joy, such as when The Mandalorian first arrived. For the most part, though, anyone with an internet connection who surfs YouTube or Twitter can undoubtedly tell you that Star Wars fans have seemingly become a bunch of angry crybabies who voice their distaste to the masses as loudly as possible. After yet another round of toxic vocality hitting us all during the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, with many wrong-headed douche monsters making racist and or mean comments towards Moses Ingram, who plays Reva on the show, it's time to say that enough is enough. As a longtime fan who spends more time in the trenches than most, I can confidently say that this is not representative of the whole. It's past time that the rest of us stop letting this toxic vocal minority ruin it for everyone else. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of a secret. I don't love The Last Jedi. I remember the pre-release buzz, but when I left my screening, I recall feeling greatly conflicted. Director Rian Johnson's movie, to me, can best be summed up as a mixed bag. But you know what? I never started a YouTube channel about it calling for Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy's job. I didn't try to raise money to remake the film. Yes, this really happened. I didn't feel that Disney ruined Star Wars. I merely didn't love a movie, and though I debated it amongst my friends and peers, it was never more than that. It was just discussion. Rationale, which rarely even happens nowadays. The point I'm trying to make here is that I kind of fall on what might be perceived as the ugly side of the line. A lot of people who don't love The Last Jedi are the same people with the loudest, frustratingly present voices. This doesn't have to be the case. There has always been room for discussion about Star Wars amongst fans, and that's part of what makes it so great. Getting petulant and saying racist things about Kelly Marie Tran because you didn't like the character Rose is not the way to go. In my experience, there are countless Star Wars fans that don't like certain movies or TV shows but are able to have a reasoned response about why they feel that way. There are far more fans who fall into this camp than do the camp of toxicity that outsiders have come to associate with this franchise. It's the loudness of that other camp that permeates. This is not the way. One element of this whole thing that I feel is key to remember is that social media is just not indicative of real life. Those of us who spend a lot of time on Twitter or YouTube can often feel like what is being expressed on these platforms represents the whole. But in truth, well, it's just not the case. The fact of the matter is that most people who are part of any fandom, who love to go to the movies, who enjoy music, just don't engage with it in that way. They enjoy the things they enjoy, maybe post on Facebook every once in a while and go about their life, and that's it. As such, those already loud voices who make it seem like Star Wars is a breeding ground for entitled man-children only appear to be even more amplified. The vast majority of us that love the ever-expansive universe that is Star Wars engage with it in our own way. My mom would be baffled to learn of the controversy surrounding The Last Jedi or Obi-Wan Kenobi. She was just happy to see Luke Skywalker again. It's that simple for my mom, who in my estimation is about as pure of a fan as one is likely to find. I hear people all the time now who are turned off by the mere mention of Star Wars because the fans are that toxic. But while it may seem that way, it's not true. A small portion of them are toxic, and I would have a rough time calling them fans. I'm not one for gatekeeping, but if all you do is complain about a thing and make it hard for others to enjoy, are you really a fan? It's hard for me to see it that way. My mom, who went out of her way to make me see all three entries in the original trilogy in theaters in 1997, when we had very little money, that's a fan. That's loving something. So what should reasonable and passionate Star Wars fans do about this? Well, to me, it's about not turning to the dark side. It's about not amplifying those loud, awful voices any further. I am not even going to name any of the toxic names here, even if it would be easy to name a few in a very long list. That's kind of the point. Feeding oxygen to a fire only makes the flames hotter. Sure, anyone who wants to say awful shit to someone or about something can sign up for Twitter, but we don't have to give it any credence or we don't have to spotlight it. Instead, we can focus on being positive and discussing this thing so many of us love in a constructive way. I'm not saying that we can't be critical, we should be. But there are ways to go about that without feeding the ugly beast. Kill them with kindness, as it were. Let's bring some baby Frick energy to the party and a little less Kylo Ren. I think back to my time at Star Wars Celebration in 2019. Here I was at this gigantic convention full of people who also love the thing that I loved. All ages, sizes, and shades from all around the world. What did we all have in common? Broadly speaking, Star Wars. But we all loved it in our own way. You know what I didn't encounter in my entire 4 days there? A single ounce of toxicity at the absolute epicenter of the fandom. I know in my heart that this is more emblematic of the whole. Let's find ways to let that bleed through. It's time to make this toxic nonsense a part of the past, and to borrow from Kylo Ren for a moment, it's also time to let the past die. Kill it, if we have to. Oh, indeed. Sometimes killing the toxicity might just save a franchise in the end. It just might. Oh, indeed it might, baby. And they definitely have a point. However, this is not just about Star Wars. I mean, you can apply this to Harry Potter. You can apply this to the Hunger Games. You can apply this to Star Trek. You can apply this to so many different franchises out there, even horror franchises like Halloween and Friday the 13th and many others out there. Toxicity among a fan base is very real, and it's not like it's going away anytime soon. The loudest people in the room are the most heinous voices out there. And I hate to say that, but it is entirely the truth, man. Now, look, I'm not saying that you can't have an opinion, and I'm not saying that your voice isn't worthy, because it is. But at the end of the day, there is a fine line between being critical and being toxic. And that line, sometimes it doesn't take much to go over it. It really doesn't. And unfortunately now, we have so many people in all of these franchises, all these fans out there, that no matter what any franchise does, it's either A, not good enough, or they don't like the characters, or they're not willing to accept this storyline or that actor or that actress, and they literally are willing to, literally, I would say, harass them to the point of them wanting to get off of a platform because they just can't handle it any further. That's where we're at now. And that's what's going on. And I think it's a goddamn shame, man. Now, look, there are a lot of people on YouTube, and again, I won't mention names exactly, but I've watched some of their videos, and they have nothing good to say. All they are doing on YouTube is literally spewing hate at every single opportunity. Nothing is good enough. All they are doing is spitting out vitriol for the sake of spitting it out. And unfortunately, that sells. I mean, they're getting thousands upon thousands, if not millions of views. And at the same time, the ones that are trying to be out there having a measured opinion and being critical, but yet being supportive and respectful, they don't nearly get the kind of love that some of these assholes out here on YouTube get. And it really does piss me off, man. I mean, look, I am not a fan of The Last Jedi. I am not a fan of The Rise of Skywalker, okay? I didn't like those movies. But at the end of the day, I'm not asking for Kathleen Kennedy's head. I'm not going after certain actors or actresses because of their ethnicity or because I just didn't care for the character. I'm able to say this is not what I like, and I'm not going to support that particular thing, but there is always next time. There is always other things in Star Wars that they're going to do, and maybe I'll like the next one, but this one I didn't care for. And I'm not going out of my way to hate the entire franchise to prove a point about my toxicity and my fandom just by hating on everything for the sake of hating on it. That isn't productive at the end of the day. I love The Mandalorian. I was lukewarm on Boba Fett. but I absolutely loved, I dug the hell out of Obi-Wan, man. I thought that was a really great series. Yes, it had some faults. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but I accepted it for what it was, man. And overall, like 90% of the show, I was like, this is amazing, man. This is everything I wanted and more. But all I kept seeing on YouTube, and I heard so much about it through certain YouTube channels, was, oh, this was all terrible, and oh, that's bad, and oh, this storyline is shit, and oh, that's really terrible, oh, this and that, and that and this. And I just kept looking at the view counts, and I'm like, oh my god, these people, even though they're part of the minority, they are getting the biggest boost in people watching them, because all people ever want to hear about is negative shit. That's all they ever want to hear about, man. No one wants to go out of their way to have a measured discussion about a certain franchise anymore. Nobody wants to have a constructive discussion, debate. Nobody wants to do that shit anymore. We have completely moved into a toxic fan spectrum now, and unfortunately, I just don't see it ending anytime soon. It's the same thing with Star Trek and all of these other big entities, whether even it's something like Stranger Things. I mean, any big entity, big franchise that has huge fan base, they are going to be pelted with toxicity just from the word go, man. And it doesn't matter whether it's certain females that become Mary Sues, that they just can't handle that, or the fact of, well, it's a woman like Kathleen Kennedy that's steering the ship, and she's really terrible, and we need to give everything to Jon Favreau. And I understand it. Jon Favreau's a really great director and creator, and he has done amazing stuff with Mandalorian. But Kathleen Kennedy is no slouch. She's done some amazing stuff as well. And yes, she's not as creative at times than Jon Favreau might be, but you know, at the end of the day, Disney does have trust in her. And ultimately, Disney's the one that's paying her. And Disney is the one that feels confident about her. And you can complain all you want about that, but your opinion isn't going to change. I literally remember being at work one day, and one of the guys that I used to work with was so passionate about hating on Kathleen Kennedy. Literally, he was ranting to me about Kathleen Kennedy for a good close to an hour, if I dare say. He was going off on her so much, and I kept thinking to myself, like, the energy that you're putting into hating on this particular woman, I mean, you could do a hell of a lot more productive things in your life than literally spending time just spewing hate on somebody for the sake of spewing hate on them. But again, that's the world that we're living in now, and that's a fucking shame. I really hate that, man. And I've learned to shut it all out at the end of the day. I really have, man. You know, for somebody like me, I gotta admit, I'm somebody that has dealt with this for a long time. I remember probably 1999 going and seeing The Phantom Menace in the movie theater, and you leave that movie and you say, it's okay, it's not bad, that's pretty cool. And then slowly but surely you kind of level off your enthusiasm, and for some people it turned bad real fast. And this was before what the internet is today, and people were just really just spitting hate for the sake of hate, man. And it didn't get any easier. Literally, toxic fans are the ones that basically drove Jake Lloyd to almost be like a recluse. I mean, seriously, man. I mean, I'm surprised Hayden Christensen is willing to come back to this franchise, because I remember episode 2, episode 3, like, people were shitting on him so bad, man. And now it's kind of like he's revered. Everyone's like, Hayden Christensen, yes. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? Because I remember 2002, 2005, man, they wouldn't give that motherfucker a break. And so now perspective and time has sort of changed, and I guess we're okay with it. I guess we've forgotten the fact that we shit all over the guy as bad as we did, man. I mean, that shit happened, and Lord knows I've seen so many other toxic stuff over the years from many, many, many people, man. And unfortunately, I think it's just the world that we live in, and it's where fandom has taken us, because fandom was never really this bad. I mean, fandom was always having moments where fans were being negative for the sake of being negative. It's always been there. It's not like it's like was non-existent and then the internet started it. It's always been around. So, in some ways, the internet has just ended up amplifying it and fueling it even further. And unfortunately, now we're at a level where you literally cannot do anything with a franchise anymore. Literally, cannot do anything with a franchise without some sort of toxicity and negativity that is coming their way directly. I mean, even looking at something like Ms. Marvel, right? Let's go to the Marvel stuff, because honestly, Marvel has toxic fans too. It ain't like they're all roses either, man. I mean, after Avengers Endgame, anything that came out after that has gotten stomped on and brutalized up the ass, man. It doesn't matter whether it's been Black Widow or Shang-Chi, the Eternals. I mean, there's been a few exceptions where fans have really loved something. Like you look at Loki, or even WandaVision had its detractors. But I mean, you look at something like Ms. Marvel now, and Ms. Marvel, oh my god, man, that is getting a lot of hate, dude. And, you know, I watched a few episodes of Ms. Marvel, and I've liked it. It's not bad. I have some faults with it, but I think it's a pretty harmless show, man, that I kind of dig. But a lot of fans are saying, "Oh, this is woke trash," and "Oh, Kamala, why is she being the superhero?" And trust me, there's more toxic things people are saying. That's just the bare minimum, okay? And I'm just sort of sitting there being like, so you're not even willing to give this a chance. See the storyline all the way through. You're just outright hating for the fact of hating because a certain minority that you don't like, or the fact that it's catering to a certain crowd that you don't think is worthy enough to be part of the conversation, or the fact that it's doing something in its storyline that you find unappealing. Okay, that's fine. Then simply don't fucking watch it. Why do you have to hate on something for the sake of hating on something? Other people are enjoying it, and if you don't like it, that's it. I mean, there was literally a show on Netflix recently that I watched called, I think it was like First Kill. And it's this vampire show. And my girlfriend and I just wanted to watch it for the sake of watching it. Hey, why not? So we watched the first episode. And I'm not going to lie, I really didn't care for the first episode. I thought it was kind of boring and useless. And I didn't really pay much attention to it. I was like, okay, I tried the first episode. It wasn't for me. That's it. I'm literally not going to go on forums. I'm not going to type out messages on Twitter or Facebook and be like, this is trash. Twilight is better than this garbage. like I'm not going to go out of my way to do that shit. I'm not that guy. First of all, I'm much more mature than a lot of the trash people that are on the internet now. My mother taught me better than that shit. I know, my mother actually taught me values and how to be respectful. I know, that's crazy, right? It's weird, because not many people learn those lessons nowadays. If they only did. Alright, look, at the end of the day, if you don't have anything constructive to say, then don't fucking say it, okay? That's it, man. Because I'm sick and tired of these entitled pricks out there that think they can just say whatever the fuck they want to say because they have a voice to say it. No, you don't, okay? You have to have some sort of rightful criticism. You have to end up being willing to have a conversation on both sides of the argument in order to actually make your opinion worth it. You can't just go and say, I don't like something for the sake of not liking it. This is trash. Okay, well then why is it trash? Tell me why and your reasoning and why it doesn't work within the story. Oh, you can't do that? Well then shut the fuck up. I mean, seriously, man, shut the hell up, man. I am sick and tired of these brats, these man children, these man babies coming in here and ruining something that I like, okay? Whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, Harry Potter, whether it's, something like Stranger Things or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DCEU, it doesn't matter, man. We've got toxicity all over the fucking place, and I'm sick of it. I remember, if you guys remember quite well, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I told you I didn't like Ghostbusters Afterlife, but instead of going on a man-baby rant about it, I ended up clearly and precisely telling you guys why I didn't like it. These are the reasons why I didn't like it, and giving you examples as to why I didn't like it. And whether you agreed with me or not, at least you understood where I was coming from, and I gave you precise reasons as to why. I'm willing to have that discussion with you. If you like it, hey, that's great. I wasn't for it, but at least you were. Or I liked it and you didn't care for it. That's okay, but we can at least have a discussion and debate about it. But if you're not even willing to have that, if you're literally cutting out other people's voices just because you don't want to hear their opinion or because their opinion doesn't match with yours, that's bullshit. Okay, that's crap. And that doesn't belong in any type of fashion whatsoever for any type of franchise. And I feel like nowadays we're willing to just put that all aside just for being toxic because it's the in thing to do. Well, everybody else on Twitter is doing it. Everybody else on Facebook's doing it. People on Instagram are doing it. So I guess I have to do it. No, you don't have to do it. And maybe, you want to voice your opinion in a creative way. That's fine. But try to see the other side of the argument. Try to actually have a constructive debate and a conversation with someone, and at least try to see the other side. We are so ready to dismiss other people's opinions because we simply don't agree with it. And there used to be a time where we could have conversations with someone and we could get along. Man, those days are so behind us, dude. And that really pisses me off, man. And that's why I love going to the movies with the guys, man. We go to the movies and we're at dinner and we're eating and we're discussing the movie we watched. And some people will have a good opinion and some people have a bad opinion. But you want to know what? We're all ready to really discuss it, man, and dive into it and be respectful of each other's opinions. Where has that gone nowadays? Where the fuck did it go, man? Because can it come back? Because I really want it to come back, man. I am so frustrated and so pissed off with this. And that article really is true, man. It really comes down to the fact that we just are a bunch of man children now that can't handle the truth. And so we want to hate on everybody else's thing that they love because we don't want anybody to feel joy and anybody to feel happiness. We just want to hate on things for the sake of hating on things. And that just simply doesn't fly with me anymore. If you are not willing to have a discussion, if you are not willing to see the other side, if you're not willing to actually see something good through all of the rubble, then I'm done, man. I'm done with you. And that's it, dude. I'm no longer willing to discuss shit for the sake of discussing it. I'm no longer willing to give these man babies a platform. If we disagree and if you are so hell-bent on that and can't see the other side of it, then I'm just willing to not even speak to you at this point. I'm done. I really am, man. And I see certain people on YouTube, especially with the Obi-Wan thing, man. I saw so many YouTube channels that were just shitting on the entire thing. And they were doing it because they wanted to be hip and they wanted to be cool and they wanted to be contrarian. Well, that's fine, but man, it really is a shame because here's the deal. Here's the ultimate deal about this, guys, is that the franchises haven't changed. You've changed. And I know that's crazy to say that, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute. No, that's not the truth. Yeah, it kind of is. Star Wars hasn't changed. It's remained the same. Maybe, obviously updated, but, I mean, the stories are still the same. The characters are still the same. You are the one that's changed. You are the one that no longer has the imagination or the creativity anymore. You've lost it. Somewhere along the line, you became jaded, you became cynical, you became mad, angry, and suddenly the thing that you liked was no longer catering to your sensibilities. And maybe it was trying to go a different route. And now, because it's not the way that you remember it, you're willing to tear it all down because it doesn't fit with your sensibilities anymore. I'm sorry. I am. You want a tissue? I don't have one available, but if I did, I'd give it to you. Man, I remember when the prequel trilogy came out, and everybody thought it was too kiddie, and oh, it's too much CGI, and all the dialogue, and this and that. I hate sand, it's coarse and rough, and it gets everywhere. And I remember people just were so much spitting hate and anger towards it. And, you know, George Lucas was banking on something. George Lucas was banking on the fact that he didn't make it for the older adults out there that had loved Star Wars previously. He was making it for the kids who would eventually grow up to love the prequels. And he was right, by the way. And those same kids grew up loving the prequels and loving Star Wars and handed it down to their kids and so on and so forth. And that's why Hayden Christensen is now as loved as he is. Because of that. And those prequels have in some ways become special canon in Star Wars for a lot of people. They've become what brought them to the dance. And a lot of you jaded fans out there, maybe you didn't get it at the time, maybe you do now, maybe you never will, but did it really matter? Who knows? I think fans at this point really just want to hate on the sake of hating. And that's what they like to do. And that's what they're good at. And they're never going to stop. I mean, it doesn't matter. Mandalorian can come out and there's going to be people that are going to bitch and complain. Marvel stuff is going to come out. Well, She-Hulk, well, they're going to bitch that it's a woman and it's not Bruce Banner. Okay. Ms. Marvel's getting trashed on. Lord knows what's going to happen with all these other kind of series. I mean, unfortunately, as a fandom, as people who are creating this fandom, they just have to go out and do it. They can't worry about the fans anymore. And, you know, at a certain point, fans have to sit back and realize that if they don't like what's happening with a franchise, then do something about it. Go out and actually create content. Do fan films. Or try to get into the business and perhaps put your own stamp on it. But creating petitions so that The Last Jedi can be remade, which was never going to fucking happen in the first place, that was a pointless thing. Absolutely pointless. That at a certain point, creators just have to go with the flow and do what they're supposed to do. You know, I heard that Taika Waititi is going to be doing a secret Star Wars project, and everybody is asking him about it, and he's kind of joking with people, and he's sort of taking the piss out of it. Why? Because Taika Waititi is going to do his own thing. Taika Waititi doesn't care what the fan base thinks. because he realizes that at the end of the day, he's got to do him. And people are either going to go on board with it or they're not. Look at something like Thor. He did Thor Ragnarok, and what he did completely changed the way we see Thor. A lot of people really liked it, but there was a lot of people who really didn't. And Taika Waititi didn't really give a shit. Taika Waititi said, this is what I'm doing. If you don't like it, fine. If not, get out of the way so the other people can enjoy it. That's it. And nowadays, we just have to have those blinders, man. Whether it's Bond, because Bond got a lot of shit as well. Think about this, man. I mean, in No Time to Die, when that black female was the new 007, oh shit, man. I mean, that got a lot of vitriol, dude. I mean, my God, man, that was really bad, dude. I mean, even the fact that there's a rumor out there that Idris Elba is going to be the next Bond, dude. Man, people's heads are exploding like a motherfucker, man. My God, man. A black Bond? Like, seriously, man. I mean, you know, franchises have to evolve. And it's not that they've completely 100% changed. It's the fact that they're going with the times. And that's not a bad thing. It means that they're making the stories and they're making the tales and the characters work for everyone, not just a minority of people. And that upsets a lot of people. That really does. Look, at the end of the day, folks, toxicity is always going to be around. It's going to be around tomorrow, just like it was yesterday, and it's going to be around in the next 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 years, like it's been around for the past 10, 20, 30, 40 years, okay? The problem is, what do you do about it? Do you give fuel to it, or do you simply ignore it? It's hard to ignore because it is the loudest voice in the room. But by giving it oxygen and air, you're making it legitimate. At the end of the day, we have to take back fandom. Because fandom used to be a positive word. And it's become a really ugly word at this point. And I don't know how we do that. But I think the first thing is to recognize that there's a problem. Because you can't fix something until you recognize that there is a problem in the first place. And we're here now. And it's not just with Star Wars, it's with everything. And if we can't recognize that there's a problem, then it's hard to fix the problem in the first place. So I am saying it officially right now. There's a problem. And we need to get over it. And we need to deal with this. And I want to enjoy fandom again. And it's hard to do that. I go on the internet and I see some nasty things and I just want to turn away. But I love those series so much that I can't. I think at the end of the day, positivity will rule the day. But in order for that to happen, we need to put an end to the hate. But that's easier said than done. What do you think? Do you think that this is an easy fix? Do you think that we can bring fandom back together in a positive way and bring back, you know, reasonable discussions and reasonable arguments and debates and really get a fan base back to the way it used to be? Or do you think that it'll never happen? That basically we've lost the status quo and now we're back to a time when people were complaining for the sake of complaining and there's just nothing good that will come of it anymore. That basically fandom is what you make of it. And it cannot be a collective fan experience anymore. It's just got to be an individual experience, because coming together as fans, gotta say, it isn't always roses, but maybe one day it can be again. Maybe. I got no answers for this one, guys, but something's got to give. But what do you think? Definitely let me know, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely give it the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Check out the other Blu-ray and DVD out and about videos that I do. Check out movie reviews with my friends. Blu-ray pickup videos, movie hunting, live streams, all of the great older content and newer stuff that is coming your way very soon. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every single time I make a video. Also, while you're at it, subscribe, become a part of the Film Fan Nation. I want to thank my really great subscribers. I love you guys so much. The great feedback, the discussions, the comments, watching all the videos. You guys are true fans, and you really show me the love, and hopefully I show the love right back to you. So thank you so much for your love and support. And hopefully if you like how I talk about movies and physical media, definitely hit subscribe for sure. Keep up to date with everything I'm doing through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. FilmFan108, keep up to date with everything I'm doing, plus special pictures and videos I do from time to time on social media as well. And if you want to send the channel any movie-related goodness, you can do that. Movie posters, physical media, care packages, whatever, you name it. It is not expected, but it's definitely appreciated, and you guys have gone out of your way to say, hey, we want to really support you, and you've done so much amazing stuff for us. We want to give back to you, and where do we send it? Well, the P.O. Box down in the description below is the place to be, man. I have gotten some amazing and wonderful stuff from you guys, and I cannot wait for where the P.O. Box adventures take me next. So I am absolutely stoked to see where it goes next, but that is up to you guys. Let's see what you hand me next, man. I cannot wait to check it out. But until then, the video is over. I've talked enough about so much movies and movie love, but I suppose there's more movie goodness to talk about next week. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy all the movie love that you yourself will be handing out, and I will see you back for another out and about adventure. Take care, everybody, and remember, happy hunting.